Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Just to act here. Did it work? Yeah, there it went. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Outside the Box here, Saturday night. Kate's rant night. Well, not necessarily, but it seems to turn into that some nights, but here we go. What I was thinking of doing, I had a couple of people ask me about it, is doing the essays back to back, and where it's not breaking up, and where possibly when the wonderful Zach gets his hands on it, he can maybe just edit out the essays and do those separately, so that it's there in a sonic, phonic, visual way, so you can put the pieces together. So, yeah, 31 Celsius here today, muggy, been trying to rain. Actually, a few drops around me. I was trying to while I was sitting here waiting to get on the air. So, but looking at the clouds are definitely clearing off. So now, just waiting to see, because we finished off last night where Colleen just managed to get in. So I'm kind of waiting for Colleen to show up as well, and when she does, I'll get her on the air. And who else? I think trying to think. And Vanessa wanted to jump in last night as well, so I'll get you guys on. But in the meantime, yeah, just another one of those wild and wonderful days, you know. Walking through the experience as we do, and trying to discern from it what we need to discern and get in this emptying, offloading, dumping of the garbage from this camel that we've been walking around with for so very long. And yeah, no one's getting through any doorways. I don't even care if they're a mile wide at this point until that's done, right? You've got to unpack the camel. And this game is all about letting go. And it's all about not justifying anything in the illusion, because it was created for you until you start creating it for yourself. And I'm starting to get a little practiced at it now. And yeah, it's there. It's still waiting for the last little bits of this download to sort themselves out. It's not surprising. Usually it takes time. Sometimes I've often used the analogy of, throwing bamboo seeds out and oak tree acorns out. And some of the truths shoot up, 6 feet in one day, like some bamboos, right? And others, well, they take a generation to get into something really tangible. Again, it won't take a generation for this stuff to come to fruition. It's just an analogy, not to take literally. Okay, just shooting the bull here, just trying to spill the beans on some truths about how people are pissing their life away, and that's really the long and short of it. I guess to the elites, I'm a stool pigeon, and that's okay too. Ratting everybody out. Yeah. Oh, our language is full of it in more ways than one, but definitely full of these little allegories that so many of us, including myself, just took at face value, didn't know where it came from, didn't know why it was there, and we thought it meant one thing when it actually didn't. That's the thing about truth. When you start ingesting truth, that is the hair of the dog that bit you, the mistruth, right? So there you go. Now I'm just gonna crack open these essays, and we'll get a little bit busy here, and just checking Skype here for a sec. And yes, thank you, Ninja, definitely. And I can't walk away from loving stuff for 30 seconds or 5 minutes, because there's another 70 plus posts, and I'm supposed to keep up. Yeah. Okay. I'll do my best. All right. So let me see. Where is it? Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 1. And my computer takes a second to load this kind of stuff up. So, excuse me. In the meantime, I'll just keep with the Babylon. Yeah, interesting experiences. was out and about for a bit today, and didn't get accomplished what I wanted to, but the universe obviously didn't want it to happen today, so it will happen tomorrow, and that's okay too. Or it won't. Doesn't matter to me. You know, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be for exactly the reason I'm supposed to be, and I'm here about tearing my own walls down, right? Seeing the things that I need to shed, seeing the things that I need to let go of, seeing the things that, you know, I need the wisdom to look at and say, well, nothing's going to change that. Well, you know, nothing external. That's going to be up to the individual to choose which path they want. But I find it, as I'm sure every one of you listening, every one of you tuned inners, and these are our tests. Really, the test of the game is only for you. And we put so much of ourself outside of ourself into the illusion to try to make things according to our image. Be it, you know, friends, family, enemies, whatever the case may be. All just players in the game, all just actors, and all the world's a stage. And that's really the toughest thing for people to get past. You see, what a lot of people can't accept responsibility for is if they're not being part of the solution, and I'm talking once you find a truth and refuse to stand in it, you are actually empowering the problem. You're not just agreeing with it anymore, because when you have the truth, what's happened is you've went exponential on it. So a denial of a truth that you understand and a truth that you know is a very, very, very powerful trap. And it will come back, I promise you. It's one of the reasons why I stand in it the way I do. Sometimes those mirrors take a little bit to reflect back, and sometimes if you're lucky, they come at you fast and furious like they did with me. And you'll see what you're made of. At the end of that rainbow, yeah, there's a pot of gold there. And this is the one thing that I really want to carry across to everyone at all points. There is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or your Ra's bow. Okay. So here we go. I think, not quite loaded up yet. But where did I want to go there? Yeah, interesting conversations today, and without going into detail with you know, who I was chatting with or whatever, it was a wonderful opportunity to observe things that had been, you know, kind of welling around in me, and of course we're dealing with a supermoon, right? For those who don't know what it is, the moon is at its closest to Earth, and in alignment. Of course, it's going to be full moon, so it's the sun, moon, and Earth in alignment, and the moon will be at its closest to perigee. This only happens every, you know, year or two or whatever, where everything coincides, where the moon is lit up completely with the sun, and it's as close as it's going to be. And for me, the supermoon was, or is, as it's going to be, is the personification of card 18 and card 19 together, because the sun and moon are in alignment with the earth, so as above, so below, right? Of course, the moon being all about the emotions, and the sun all about light and love, and whatever you want to call it. You've got the divine feminine, divine masculine, and of course, they're in both. Much easier just to separate the concept so that you can see it in a duality in order to put it back into a singularity. That's kind of what I do. So I'm just going to check the board real quick here. I have the essay open for those of you that haven't heard this yet. Good, and for those that have, gooder. I always find after visiting something, you know, once or twice, you start to get new ears and new eyes on it. You know, it's like the words magically change. You know, your eyes are changing. Your eyes are being opened. And, you know, scary as that is, you know, think back to when you were just entering this world, and the first time you opened your eyes, and, whoa, what's going on here then? You know? Not in so many words. It would sound more like, blah 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 in your head, but you know what I'm saying. And that's what's happening is you go back to that crazy awesome rebel teacher who said you must be born again. Boy, did they mess that one up. This is where you're being born into the truth, being carried, born to bear away. You're being born on the winds of truth right now. At least that's what I'm feeling, so it's pretty cool. But here we go. Excuse me. Oh, got it over to the board. Just want to see if Colleen has made it here yet. They did say last night, when Colleen shows up, I'll give her first dibs because she hung on for so long last night and only got in at the last minute. She actually got the last word, so that was pretty cool. And here comes the rain. There's the waters of truth. It's actually quite nice. I've got an umbrella open. It's actually covering my guitar right now. So if it gets a little too damp, I'll be tossing a tune on and taking my guitar inside. Yeah? Is that the shit or what? I think we're on to something, boys and girls. I think we've actually got the heavens talking to us tonight. That's just a coincidence. Something ominous. Kate's going to say something ominous, I can tell. Alright, so yeah, it's starting to rain a bit here, so I'm just going to actually slide my guitar inside, and I can have the umbrella over top of me. Look at the priorities, eh? Umbrella on my guitar. I'm getting wet. Computer's getting wet, but not my guitar. No. There you go. Okay. Alright, now, can I do this with one hand? Yes, I can. I'm a multitasker. That was quite a boom there. That was pretty cool. That was very, very cool. I always love thunder and lightning storms. They're magical to me. Oops, I gotta close the door. I'll close the screen. Live radio. Listen to Kate in real time as she fumbles around trying to fix everything up. Yeah, that's great. Okay. So let's get to this essay, shall we? Now get you guys jumping in, because Saturday night, let's get wild, eh? Come on, party time. Get your dancing shoes on. Alright, Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 1. This is going to be fun, trying to read this with an umbrella. Anyway. Bitch. Alright, here we go. Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 1. While it's easy to see the literal in what appears to be obvious, it is the hidden from view we are oblivious to discern, and all one must do to the obvious is insert the lie. L-I. It is about shifting our perspectives into the prose se, for himself, herself, itself, and allegorical realms that peels back the apocalypse for the true revelations to be seen. Very few will seek to look deeper into the real meanings of words and prefer to take it at face value. The words of others that did the same before them. It is easiest to perpetuate a lie if it doesn't feel like one, and not one of our creations. We have two roads here, two choices, and that is to be willfully seeking knowledge and willfully seeking ignorance. While some may argue, ego, that being ignorant is not a willful act, any choice made is one done with intent. Any act of knowing ever experienced proves this out, that ignorance must be chosen in the same light as knowledge, since they are both equal and opposite, where neither will or can exist without the other, as its perfect mirror. Ignorance is simply knowing better and not doing so. We have spent lifetimes looking at everything based upon the conditioning of someone else's thoughts and intentions. We have continuously allowed our own pure canvases we arrive in this realm with to be painted on by others. It has been quite truthfully said that the bigger the lie, the easier it is to convince others, and this has been played out on the grandest of scales. The intent of the lie always remains the same, and that is to divide and conquer, nothing more. As long as you can keep people polarized, you can keep them hating, fearful, and most importantly, controlled. It's quite an easy trick, but alas, this one-trick pony is exposed, and it is only up to us to choose the insanity of this world's creations, or decide that there is something a little saner to our tastes. Where was it? Yeah, the insanity of this place is easy to spot unless a planet filled with war, starvation, hate, lust, greed, murder, raping, etc. is to your liking. And if so, then you are a psychopath, pure and simple. What we are dealing with here as the illusion is simply an allegory of the greatest magnitude, if you can see it. The illusion is not that difficult to see, but one must shift positions 180 degrees to find its center. If the term "let's go shoot the bull" is to be taken literally, there would be a lot of angry farmers and a lot of dead bulls. If one was to accept everything literally, then this planet would be an even bigger mess than it is, with many spilling the beans, pissing their lives away, eating crows, roast pigeons on stools, etc. That is the true nature of the liter all. When one begins to have eyes to see and ears to hear, this world becomes a vastly larger panorama and a lot less Homer Simpson-led. There is great responsibility in truth, and why so few will ever seek it out on any grand scale. It is much easier to ignore the root of ignorance than it is to know and be responsible for that knowing. In a world adrift in ignorance, the ones that seek truth are the standouts in the crowd, where not being with the in-crowd of ignorance is cruel. Gratefully, the day of the ignoramus is over, and the light of truth is blinding the fools and thieves of this realm. It has been raining cats and dogs for too long. Allegorically, cats have been seen as feminine and dogs as masculine, and likely why men love their pussies doggy style. Cats have always been perceived as the divine feminine, and the dog as the faithful masculine protector, regardless of the gender of either creation. One sees the patriarchal rulership of Rome as merely being a transplant of the pharaohs of Egypt, which they are. The allegorical fear of cats the ancient Egyptians had for cats falls nicely into view. All the clues are there if we take a second look at everything. Literally looking at everything will have you seeing only half of what is being shown, at the very least. Of course, some things are much easier to discern as allegories or metaphors, and I refer to them as kindergarten starter kits. The previously mentioned allegories are of this nature and very easy to see. An allegory is simply an analogy or a comparison put in a story or dark saying form, so that regardless of the language or the time it is used, the meaning remains untarnished with perpetual change. Shakespearean terms like biting one's thumb and then spitting afterwards is an old reference way of saying to suck the thumb biter's cock. I prefer to use intense allegories to get the point driven home. You will find this reference in Romeo and Juliet in the first act. A rose by any other name is still a rose eloquently means that no matter how many coats of paint you put on a piece of dog shit, means it is still a piece of dog shit. The title of this essay means that duality of this realm has been conquering us for too long, where one aspect of creation is made to fear and be controlled by another aspect. In this case, the divine masculine, the prodigal son, has been trying to control creation itself and has been redirecting our free will in ignorance, consent, and choice. This is where the line, "and God created man in our image," leaves a great many questions, as in, who is the our and who is the God? Alas, all the world's a stage, and the play we're in is all allegorical, and is the literal shadow of creation on the other side of the looking glass, Alice. Everything you see, read, and experience is that reflection, but many have been taught to look away and miss the less than obvious. The road back, however, is getting clearer by the instant. In each aspect of our physical being, be it perceived female or male, we are complete, although convinced that we are separate from the other. We have been told and controlled into this perceived division most carefully, where our very energetic essence has been split in two and polarized. The truth is, we are both magnetic and electric, when one finally grasps the notion that all things are just energy, nothing more and nothing less. The magnetic void of creation is the divine feminine, and the electric intent of creating is the masculine drive. This has been portrayed in countless ways and is everywhere, whether it's the phallic penis of the obelisk or the Vesca Pisces it stands in. As an example of some word or sigil trickery, the word stir or star is referencing the divine feminine. What did you think Star Wars was about anyway? Inasmuch as the star is also the sun, what part of being both male and female energies did you miss? This whole realm is about controlling the divine feminine void of creation by a male energy gone way out of balance, and religion was the grand lie of them all. Why are people shocked when priests, ministers, and rabbis are shown to be mutilators and rapists of young male children? That's not to say that girls aren't treated the same, just that there is a preference to defile, or defile. You can see Delphi in there as well. Defile the male. Yes, every word matters, and every word is a clue, some more than others only. The medical profession and religion will tell you all kinds of lies to convince parents to circumcise male children, and point to the trap of the literal physical nonsense, but they won't tell you that the removal of the foreskin is the physical aspect of the male, that is the inner and outer labia, and the symbolic allegory of the divine feminine being removed. There are many physical reasons beyond this, such as keeping the illusion of an erect penis on the male from birth, and to keep them sex-driven and thus expelling the fluids from the spine and brain to keep them from ever waking up, as they spill their seed every chance they get. While this is not true of all males, it certainly explains the sheer volume of porn stores in the Western world. To add insult to injury, the schooling systems teach absolute garbage to the masses, while the chosen intellects are bought off and enter into the controller's realms and taught an entirely different version of reality. In short, the penis foreskin is a physical allegory of the divine feminine shorn from that being. I have long spoken of the word register, and this was the biggest allegory to date for me. I see it everywhere now, and I do mean everywhere. The word register means to rule the divine feminine creative essence, regis, stir. When we register anything, we have willfully given up our divine feminine for another to use to their fancies. This is an ethereal concept, so don't get stuck in the physical illusion about this. Physical is the creation, not the creator. What is physical is past tense, as in created, after the fact of being created. Seeing allegories is simple, not easy, and it requires a rewiring of your perspective, the one that has not been yours for a very long time. These are the true eyes to see, coupled with the true ears to hear. Once that is accomplished, then you have the in voice to ask, and ye shall receive. It begins with the ceasing of worshipping things outside of ourselves, outside of creation herself. Each and every one of us has our own piece of the puzzle, our own purpose, and our things that will resonate the truths we need and seek to find. When you begin to see your own purpose, things become crystal clear. The easiest way to see things is by knowing that everything in existence is both masculine and feminine, positive and negative, electrical and magnetic at the same time in singularity. I like to use the analogy of a coin. When one flips the coin and says head of the dragon or tail of the dragon, one is seeking contrast of duality. Regardless of how the coin hits the floor, it's still a coin. Where the best result would be at landing on its edge, where you can see the head and tail equally. Being a head or tail showing does not diminish the perceived value of the coin, merely the perspective of how one willfully chooses to see it. If you perceive something as right, then you must have the equal and opposite contrast to draw that conclusion as to what may be perceived wrong. Is it right or wrong for a tribe of cannibals to eat another human? Well, according to their perspective, it's sacred and right, but to mine, not something I would willfully choose to do. Only illusions can be built on lies. The castles built on the sand, where truth prefers castles built on the rock allegory. If one is a believer, then one is stuck in the duality of lies versus truth, with the word shown thusly: be, lie, ver, where ver is the root of verily or truthfully. So when one is a believer, there is the choice cast in the doubts of the definition of the word itself. I would prefer to know something versus believe anything. My experience in this reality is the only thing I can truly know, where all else outside of self is open to interpretation only. There are no answers in illusions or lies, only further deception where one is left to trust in a false or false idol or icon. Yes, it's all there for all to see if we make the choice to see past the illusions of the physical constructs. All things in the physical realm are simply mimics or copyrights of the spiritual and ethereal mirrors, and why I refer to this place as a mirror reflection. I have seen far too many confirmations for that to be denied any longer, where true knowing of self has come into full view. The biggest test for me was the absolute trust I placed within my own reality against all the standard norms of this run-by-psychos animal farm. I became the 1 + 1 = 3 knowing versus the 1 + 1 = 2 believer. If one chooses the literal math, one can believe all day long that it does equal 2. But when one gets outside the box ethereally, then one sees the true laws of nature. cosmic creations and one egg plus one sperm equals the third being created. That's the trouble with the physical, in that it places limits on all of us in the very nature of its finite construction. The physical realm worships math as outlined in the Masonic G, the banker's tallies, and the pharaoh's pyramids. In short, they worship all things outside of themselves and are trapped in their own game, if they could but see that. We have been poisoned by a light not our own, words not of our creation, and make real all the illusions we stare at. As another example, I have long felt that Ireland is the heart of the divine feminine allegory. I have pored through countless articles, tomes, essays, and books regarding this, pondering, but it didn't take long to piece a few of them together. Even the shape of Ireland herself is resembling the heart. A real one, by the way. She has 4 ventricles, or provinces, and her troubles were in the upper right ventricle called Ulster. Let's look at the other 3. Munster, Leinster, and Connaught, or Munster, Leinster, and Connaught. You got to play with these things. Ulster is a word broken down by the letter, allows a deeper look into its true essence, with U as the international symbol of electricity being masculine, L as the divine essence of the power of creation, the spirit breath called Ro, excuse me, and sorry, clear my throat here, and Stir being the divine feminine stir. It becomes quite clear this trinity within the upper right higher feminine chamber. The star chamber referred to in Black's Law Magic book is the allegory of the heart itself, with more on that in an essay all by itself. I've always felt that Ireland, the Emerald Isle, is the last remnant of a destroyed Atlantis, being where it is and where it used to be eons ago. Green is the color of the heart chakra, or shock, Ra, or the solar plexus. Newgrange is a place dedicated to the seasonal changes, where a little spoke of place called Fornox that is dedicated to Cygnus, the swan. The swan is allegorical for the divine feminine, grace, beauty, and compassion. There is but one door to the last chamber yet to knock, and that is the heart completed. Only in the truest hearts can compassion be found for all creation, not just the selected chosen bits. Ulster is the last chamber with the patriarchal boot still on its throat, but that boot is being severed as the foot of the Pisces with its losing the foothold. The worshippers of Rome, aka Egypt, with their masters ruling from Switzerland, are now in their own fishnet as we climb up Jacob's ladder of the body. As above, so below. The age of Aquarius is all about knowing, far removed from the former epoch of believing in Pisces. When one begins to see the coincidences and realize finally that they are not coincidences at all, but are the rungs of this ladder, you too will begin to climb out of this illusion. There is only one thing that can make you immortal and finally set you free of this madness, and that is truth. Love is truth where unconditional reigns, not the cats and dogs that war on this plane. You can deny truth all you want, but your heart knows what you must do, and if truth be denied, you deny your own heart, so expect a few troubles of your own. All things for a reason, inasmuch as all things are allegorical fractals of creation itself. All things in all things. And it's quite magnificent to behold once your eyes truly begin to open. It is your own heart that beckons you home and nothing else. I have long wearied listening to the many that claim their own awakening, where it has always been a journey for me. I am awakened to some things, not all things, where I choose not to be fooled by my own arrogance of ego proclaiming that I am awake. Upon claiming of a destination, the tricky little bastard has once again conquered you and me with limitations. Infinity is a journey, not a destination, where this ship will take to port only for enough time to rest, gather allegorical supplies, and then press on to the starboards of my own creations, having learned something along the way each and every instant of the now. Of course, to be continued in part 2. In the meantime, while this rain goes over, I'm going to toss a song on to you guys. And let me see, what am I going to play? What am I going to play? Oh, I think I'll play this one. Be right back.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
And welcome to Outside the Box. Yeah, I decided to throw a tune on there. It's a bit of a cloudburst. Yeah, got nice and wet. So there you go. My computer got soaked. What else is new and what are the odds? Yeah, beautiful though. It's really cutting down on that humidity stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of interesting things. Even as I was reading through that again, I think I've read it 4 or 5 times now. Properly edited. That's up on Katie's Cove. It's up on kateofgaia.wordpress.com as well. Thank you, Ninja, for that. And I will get to part 2 in a sec. I just wanted to kind of separate things up a little bit so that it can be edited. Besides, reading in a continuous fashion, especially with this humidity, clearing throat and everything else, I do a lot of talking in a day, so really, Kate? Really? Oh my, you'd never know it though, right? Ever? So before I go on to part 2, just maybe you guys want to jump in for a bit here, just hit 1 on the keypad and put your hand up and pop in. I'd love to have a chat. Oh, there we go. All right, let me see. Look at that. People actually listening. Unbelievable. This, I think, is Billy. Let me see if I got it right.
Hey, how you doing?
I got it right.
Calling
okay,
from
good.
Cleveland. Calling from Cleveland,
Yeah,
Good
how's
times,
it going?
Pretty good. Today I played. I was playing acoustic with the drummer, and he told me that I had told him to check out your show, and he told me he checked out Critical Mass on the internet. So I don't know.
Oh,
so
cool.
I put it out there a long time ago for him to check you out, but he finally tuned in.
Well, that's good.
Days. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, the artists got to stick together. It's the misfits and crazy artists, and those that decide to create outside the box that are changing this place. So, welcome to the game changer. Yes, you're that important.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get that part. What's that?
Yeah, I watched. We were playing guitar. I don't know, but at this park, and there was like tennis in the background, and I'm like, yep, game set match, 15 love.
15 love, baby.
Kind of funny, yeah. So.
Yeah, that kind of fits for me. So, yeah, beautiful.
I hope that's not my phone. I hope that's not my phone like crackling. I don't know.
No, that's
Is it coming through? Okay.
No, that's the rain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just tuned in, so I hopefully it's not me.
Nope, it's not. It's the rain. That's the sound of rain on an umbrella. You know me, outside. I don't like being inside when I'm doing shows. It's an ethereal thing for me, right? Even though the 60 hertz has no effect on me, I just don't. If I choose not to be in it, that's why I go outside.
Yeah, tonight. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Tonight I'm on my way to go to like a film party with just other filmmakers, like outside party, but supposed to be 60 people there, so I don't know.
Oh, that'd be a good night.
I'll plug the show,
I was going to say, you show up anywhere, and there's going to be a lot of seeds getting scattered. If there's a police station on the way there, if you have any hemp seeds, just take those with you and throw them out in the front lawn.
There's a police station adjacent. It's like an art
perfect.
studio in Cleveland, downtown. It's gated, but on the see-through wall, or just like metal gates, but there's a wall of police cars. So.
Yeah. Well, you can always use a slingshot and do a hemp bomb, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just stick a bunch of them together and fire it up in the air, way up over the fences and up over the gates, and poof, and they explode on the soil, and hey, look what's growing there. That's what I say. These guys want to be kept busy. They seem to think that cannabis is an issue. We'll make it one everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. So that would definitely be the fun and nice thing to do. If you go out in the woods and you like walking trails and what have you, well, then there you go. Just handfuls here and there, and just scatter them into the wild and let them go.
Exactly.
I don't see it
maybe
as a
throw
problem.
them in their car or something. Throw them in their car with some grass or something.
Oh, exactly.
Some dirt or something. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, see, the thing is, what it does save is a lot of hassle that innocent beings that actually have cannabis from having it stolen from them from these guys, because they're just going to smoke it anyway. Oh, they'll take some in for sure, but oh no, it'd be a 5 ounce parcel, and they say, yeah, we found an ounce on this guy. Yeah, where'd the other 4 go? Well, you know who's having the party that night, don't you? Yeah, I've never
the
seen.
DA. No.
Oh yeah, I've never seen so many hypocrites in all my life, and it's quite humorous to watch, actually. I will be writing a little email to the new chief of police of Guelph tomorrow, the one that replaced the one that got fired by messing with me. Yeah, it's about handing it back to them, and that's where I'm at now. You have a choice to make, and what I'm doing is handing the responsibility over, and that's part of what was going on today with me. I need to make my last appeal to anyone that is willing to listen. And when I was talking with the individual, I came off of the term, what is it? Oh, casting pearls before the swine, right? And that, for some people, they would take that as being, rather rude. Oh, you're calling people swine. Says, no, you're missing the allegory. Excuse me. When a pig goes to the top to get its slop, do you honestly think it's going to pick through and it only likes peas and it only likes carrots and it only likes bits of this and bits of that of the other? Do you think it's just going to stick its snout in there and go to town? Well, that's the allegory. Of course it is. It doesn't care what it eats. It eats everything and anything, the garbage and the good. And you can throw all the pearls you want into that trough, and that pig's going to eat them. And that truth, that gem of truth, is going to do the exact same thing that slop's going to do. It's going to go in one end and out the other, and they won't even notice it. So that's what I mean. This is one of the things that you can do to save yourselves, Father. And of dealing with it, and quite frankly, it's a trespass on free will, where someone is choosing to be willfully ignorant. By all means, toss the seed out. If it doesn't take, then move on. Don't waste any pearls. And that's one of the joys of doing this, because all you guys that are tuned in on the graph scale, and I do mean tuned in, not to this. I'm talking tuned in. You came here of your own free will choice. You came here of your own volition. You made the choice to be here. And a lot of the stuff I talk about is not easy to listen to. It cuts through. There's no bullshit here. I don't hold back. I think my reputation will speak for itself on that one. If I see something that is not resonant, or feel something that's not resonant, I'm very quick to jump all over it and to peel the opinion-aided ego program, smash the TV in, and of course, people that immediately get emotional and defensive, and then they go off and target you with something else. Well, you know what you're dealing with there, and there's no changing that channel for a lot of these people. They have to willfully put their hand up and turn the channel themselves, allegorically speaking. And I've said it before. You tune in your radio to any given station. It doesn't mean to say all the rest of the stations aren't there. It's just, what station are you tuned into? And a lot of these guys are tuned into Bread and Circus's Rome 101. Okay. You gotta get past that. You gotta get past the physical. You gotta get past the fear, and that's the thing that holds everyone. It's the most powerful tool of all, fear. And they've got everyone in this fear of death illusion, which is crazy. To me, it's just nuts. I figure it out. I can't. That one boggles me. Because my whole life I've known I was infinite. Hell, even the Rome churches will tell you that. They tell you it in a backwards way, and of course, if you're infinite, they want to make sure that you're going to end up being in hell, right? So they want to scare you. So not only do they make you afraid of death, of dying, they make you afraid of dying the wrong way. And I often found it interesting that one of the greatest sins of the Catholic Church is suicide. That's not to say guys can do this, but have you ever pondered that? I have. I think it's quite funny, actually. And for me, it's quite simple. They don't want you being so fearless of death to do it yourself. Because you do it yourself, you're unpredictable. Okay? That's why they frown on it. They lose one of their slaves. That's why I'm not saying go out and do that. It's an allegory, okay? Work with me here. I do speak allegorically, not literally. Here comes the cloud burst again. You know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, I think it's sick too. It's like, I don't know. The majority of my family, I was raised Catholic. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. So hopefully they snap out of it, But,
well, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. It's only our job to take care of ourselves. While that sounds selfish, it's the most selfless act you can do. Because you care enough about others to bring your own frequency out. That's the test. The test is to be a part of, hopefully that's not too loud, I hope. Probably it is.
I have traffic in the background in my other ear, so that's not bad. So.
Okay. Yeah, it was nice there for a sec. Again, you know me, you got to be outside. Hey, listen.
Yeah, why not?
Pouring truth right now, guys. Get it? Even nature's telling us we're on the right track. Right?
Wah, wah, wah.
Exactly. That's another thing too. Like, for those in the Catholic faith, that was a nice Freudian. In the Catholic faith, I like that Catholic faith. Those of you in the Catholic faith actually had an extra 6 books in your Bible compared to, the other monetary designations called denominations, right? That was one of the, I'm talking, this was many years ago, and when it kind of came together with that whole, what's your religious denomination? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, denomination, that's how they talk about money. So I mean, this has been a long walk to get here, and lots of these neat little trinkets along the way that I picked up, and I'll keep that. That's a good one. I like that one. It's a question I need to ask later, and the more wisdom we can get into ourselves, the more more gems we can pull out. And you'd be amazed that when you start clearing off your garbage. You hear people say, "Well, I haven't got a very good memory because you got too much shit on your RAM." Start cleaning the RAM off. Start getting rid of the baggage. Start getting rid of the garbage, and you'll be fine. Seriously. And we have Jeremiah coming in too. Yeah, listen, here's the track. Woof woof. Okay, buddy. Good dog. Sit, roll over, play. Good dog. Anyway, Jeremiah, how are you?
I'm well. How's everyone doing tonight? Hi, Billy. Hi, Kate.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Everything good? Rolling?
Everything's fantastic. I was listening to the show last night. I had an opportunity, and you and Santo were right on it. The resonance was firing all over the place. It was beautiful. And
hang on a sec. We got dogs going by there. Are the dogs gone now? There we go.
Yeah, they're looking for cannabis.
Yeah. Somebody said Billy has seeds. They're after him.
They missed it. They missed the boat. Now it's in their brownies.
There's a good one. That's what we all need to do. Make hash brownies and send it through the church auxiliary to the precincts. Like big 10, 15 big trays of hash brownies. Yeah. That'll work. Oh, look.
Plenty of icing,
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Jeremiah. Sorry.
No worries. I was really resonating with what you guys were talking about the 12 and 360. And something occurred to me through Bill Donohue's work. He mentioned how, there's 365 days of a year, right? Well, Wasn't it originally 360, like a full circle, full infinite circle? Like, where did that 5 days come from, and why did they implement them in there?
My intuitive says that the original calendar had, the cycle was originally 369 days.
Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, 369, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just an observation, just an intuitive hunch. You know, I don't think anything in this planet's told me. I don't think it's worth anything. I look at it and go, yeah, right, okay, I'll see what it really is. Give me a sec. I'm not buying your bullshit anymore, people.
Right.
They taught us that in school.
So they -4 from it. Well, you guys said 4 was 1, and that I'm having trouble wrapping my head around. How is 4 what? You say 4 ventricles in the heart.
Yeah, lots of ways to bring it back. When you look at here's one that comes to mind immediately. The fourth letter of the alphabet Western is D, and the Greek alphabet is delta. Now, 4 is the inference to 4 sides, yeah? And delta, as written in Greek, is a triangle. And we can't look at things as being one or the other. We have to look at them as both being equal and opposite. So we have the divine trinity of the triangle, himself, herself, itself, boxed in. So what we need to do is break out of that. So there's one way that 4 is the 1 in the form of delta. That make sense?
That does.
Okay. And then 4 ventricles in the heart. You know, 1 heart, 4 chambers, right? 1 Ireland, 4 provinces. Just a coincidence.
And 4 is also the square shape, which is also spherical at the same time, right?
Well, yeah, it can be. Absolutely. You can draw a circle and touch all 4 sides. Yeah, and all 4 points.
Which is one in itself, too, because it's infinite, and it's just one spherical, form.
Well, yeah.
All right.
If we go back into some of the legalese stuff, the 4-corner rule, right? When you 4-corner a document, what you're doing to it is stating that everything on the document must be taken as a whole, not where they can typically segment it, okay? This is old stuff, but it all factors in. This is part of the journey to get here into this allegorical realm, right? So when you see a document having to be taken as a whole, it means it's one. And of course we have the 4 corners of the earth. And we have the 4 directions that are all broken up into different increments. They're the cardinal points of the Wheel of Fortune, right? Well, how are you looking at the box? Are you looking at it, flat top, flat bottom, or point top, point bottom? You see, that's the thing. People,
exactly.
You need to move around in your mind. You need to, it's like me with language. I take every letter. I don't care if it's the word bat. We were talking about vampires last night. Let's do that one. The word bat, you can have it sound like bot or bait. You know what I'm saying? Depending on whether you make the A the hard sound or the soft sound, or its variances. Changing different letters. Put an AI in there, and you could have it as bait or ba-it, or you know what I mean? Just don't be afraid to play with them. That was the trick of the spelling. They got you into a very singular way to do it. This is how you say it. And we go, oh, okay, boss. We suck it up and go, yeah, all right. I mean, it's handy. We can at least communicate right now, but what I'm trying to do is take that whole communication thing right out of the grid, right out of the box, so that we can actually see what was being said and what the spells were.
That's true. All these spells with their meanings and beliefs that we've associated with it, but in reality, if we were taught to, harness our telepathy, and our spiritual gifts, then we wouldn't have to communicate via, vocal manner.
Well, no, absolutely not. We're telepathic, and here comes the cloudbird. I think I best get my Eastern sky here, eh? Of course I closed the glass. That's the hard one, though. Give me a sec, guys. Even with the umbrella, I got soaked there. Crazy. This is beautiful weather. Here, I'll set the umbrella where it can get filled up. That way it doesn't blow away.
That's better, yeah.
There we go. Sorry about the background noise, guys. That's just me being stubborn. I want to be outside. Suck it up.
That's beautiful.
Well, it is, Let's clean my screen off here so I can actually see what's going on. What a cool thing. Hey, look, I have a screen again. Anyway, again, it's about shifting perspectives. It's about daring to look at something differently than the way everyone has been so, entrained to look at things. Dare to challenge mainstream. I mean, that's what you want to talk about the old teachers, you know, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, these guys were all talking about the same thing, just at quote different times in terms of what we know that to be real or not, and different places, different cultures, you know. Was it Zoroaster and what's the other one I'm trying to think of? Ahura Mazda, and yeah, I mean, these are all teachers that were telling the exact same story. Muhammad, they're all, you know, this is the irony. Look at the emotions they've got people wrapped up in, right? And you know, even bringing the whole, I guess I shouldn't mention the people that are, you know, devout churchgoers that they're actually worshiping Satan. Didn't like that one today. Oh wow, sorry, just, you know, that's me. You know, that's fine. You want to go to church and worship Satan, do your thing. Oh, it's not worship. Yeah, well, whatever. You know, apparently, and of course, I can't even quote what Jesus said, because that just makes people accountable for the truth, right? You know,
right.
Like, go ahead.
Well, I was saying, if you're worshiping anything outside of yourself, then you're giving your power away at that point. So people worshiping Jesus or Muhammad or any of these are giving away their power. And I've tried to, I posted something on Facebook, and actually one of the family members saw it, and she's a born-again Christian. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, if someone's offended by it, then and naturally there's a reason why they came to me. If they feel they need to defend their faith, then they obviously have a problem with it, and they're not confident in expressing it. So,
well, it's because they don't know, because what they're talking. Here's the biggest trick of all. I mean, they are not coming up with anything original in their approach or in their thought. They are regurgitating what someone is talking about on a pulpit, who is regurgitating it from someone they learned it at Bible college or the seminary or whatever the case may be. There's not an original thought in it. This is, you know, basically the dominoes. And what we are that one domino that's grounded, and you know, we tink, and we don't fall. And you know, we mess it up for those that want to make sure that everyone's a domino. We're just trying to end the bleeding. That's all.
That reminds me of that 2000 Space Odyssey. Wasn't that black thing? Wasn't that a domino? What was the deal with that thing?
Oh, what do you call it? I forget what they called that. Yeah, it was just like a big, you know, rectangular giant domino on a planet. Well, again, that would be symbolic of a control grid, right? And
right.
it's one of the reasons why, you know, correlating things like at the fall of Egypt about 11,500 years ago is what they're, you know, calculating it was. That was about the same time that they brought the moon into play. Right, that's when the moon got put in. You know, they lost the control grid on Earth with the pyramids. You know, Mama Gaia got pissed off, decided to thaw out her ice caps real quick, and boom, you know, there goes the cap off the top of the pyramid, and Which destroyed it. Now, something else, and I was talking about this today as well, and when you take a cross section, I think I've mentioned this a few times, but let's bring it up again. When you take a cross section of you know, the main pyramid, you see the king's chamber up high and the queen's chamber, and just the way the different lines go on the profile, and what you're going to see is the Eye of Horus, which is a cross section of the human brain. You know, that was for me the final straw in terms of looking at the pyramids as being the ultimate controlling tool of a nation called Egypt that was all about slavery. I mean, if you take the literal context of what the Bible's about, I mean, they had the children of Israel were slaves. Again, allegorically, there's the three elements, the Trinity that they put in the Isis, El, and Ra, right? Isis being the divine feminine, Ra being the divine masculine, and El being the power of, well, for lack of a better term, analogy, Holy Spirit, as it were. The power of creation, the power and the everything put together, right? Sort of like the fuel. If one wing is male, the other wing is female. The L is the fuel for the jet. All right? Ain't going to fly without it. So here we have the Egyptians, the great worshipful Egyptians that are now living in Switzerland, the pharaohs. That's what the bloodlines are all about, keeping that ethereal bloodline in place. It was all about slavery, and they got their asses kicked out of Egypt. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I really want to go back on. I mean, the story of Enki and Enlil and Nirhasag and what have you. Some of these old recountings. Excuse me. Just to bring the allegories out of those as well. And they're all allegories. They're all telling the same story. Just because they give it a different name, there's that rose by any other name, doesn't matter. It's still a pharaoh. Pyro, get it? Sacred creation, Pyro. Right. Pyramid, fire in the middle. For me, all the pyramids are giant smart meters, and Mama Gaia had some fleas on her back, and she did it a little shaken. And of course, the moon got pulled in about that time to replace that control grid, because the last thing that those that are controlling this physical realm want to have happen is humanity awaken en masse, and well, unfortunately, that's what's happening right now. Did anybody see that photograph? Did you guys see that photograph of the, quote, riots, unquote, in Rio in Brazil, where the crowd literally forced police into the ocean?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Okay, on the Facebook post, when I think it was Jennifer posted it to me, but on the post it said there's a perfect allegory. What we're dealing with here is the dark aspects of our consciousness were being forced into the waters of truth, and they will either learn to sink or swim. And there's your false security with your bulletproof vests and all your heavy gear, that the deeper you go into the water, the harder it is for you to try to float. So you're going to have to unpack your camels in order to let that truth save you, right? So that's a whole notion of security, and that is one of the biggest fears that they put into society as a whole. You know, if you don't have money, you can't survive. If you don't have this, you can't. It's all about survival. Our whole existence is based around and only around survival. Keep the meat stick alive. They even call it the cost of living. Okay, pardon me. At what fucking point should living cost you something? Think about it.
Wow, yeah.
Cost of
just
living?
So we can depend, yeah.
You know,
just so we can depend on them.
Exactly, and they do such a great job because they even give out free money and shit to make it look like they're being benevolent, when the truth is, you know, it's like, say I'll use an analogy, there's $1 million sitting on the table, and we'll call that government, and you know, you got people needing something, and they hand out $5. Here you go. And then, of course, when they hand out the $5, they want half of it back in taxes. And of course, 90% of that's actually chewed up in taxes anyway. So you're really, your paycheck or any check you get is effectively 5% or less than. There's your inflation, by the way, and you can take this back 120 years, and you'll understand. A day's wage was typically 10 cents a dime, 1 silver dime. That was a day's wage, and you could live on that quite easily. You know, there's your inflation for you. Try living on a dime a day now. It's not even silver. You know, it's a piece of steel. They've taken the most common material on the planet and told you it's money. They did the same thing with Rome. These allegories I know because, you know, coin collector, well, former until my collections were stolen, but yeah, that's what cops do though, right? And lawyers, of course. Yeah, there's another fun story, but in Rome, what they were doing, you can see the fall of the empire, and you can see it in the god they worship, the mono-I, the money. And when Rome finally fell, the money was worthless. It was they kept infusing, you know, base metals into the silver coins, you know, where it was, you know, 90% and then 80% and right down to nothing, and then the whole thing collapsed. And what are we dealing with right now? They don't even want copper pennies out there. That to me was a big allegory. You see, because the last valuable metal, and you guys are going to flinch when you hear this, the last remaining valuable metal in money was in the penny. with its copper and zinc, because all the rest is just steel. They're all steel.
That's
even
ironic.
not at all. Can you see the collapse of the empire this way though? So they took the last remaining here in Canada. They've stopped making pennies. I mean, they were making them for a few years there. They were made out of steel too, but people caught on to that because the damn things kept rusting. I used them as washers. They were zinc coated steel, right? So I just punch a hole in them and I'd use them as a washer. It was already metal treated, right? Weather treated. So yeah, cheap too. I didn't have to spend 3 cents for a washer. It was only a penny. Just had to punch a hole in it. You know, when you have the tools, you do it. So yeah, neat, eh? So like even let's look at the allegory of the Canadian, the 5 cent up here. You guys call it a nickel down in the States too, yeah? And the reason why it was called a nickel because it was made with nickel, and they stopped making them with nickel in 1981 here. That long ago. They kept debasing it, right? It used to be 100% nickel. I think it was like 99.5, and the other 5 was copper. 0.5 rather. So, and you can watch the fall of the empire just by reading coin catalog. I'm talking from the mint, either the U.S. Mint or the Canadian Mint or whatever mint. I mean, they took all the silver out of the coins. In the U.S., they took it out last year of issue of silver was 1964. And in 1965, they had a shortfall of coins because as soon as they came out with the nickel ones, they made out of nickel, everyone hoarded the silver and the tills were emptied. Nobody wanted to spend. Why would I spend a silver dime knowing that silver is worth far more than nickel as a base metal, right? Why would I use something silver when I can use something like worth 10% of its value and perceived value, and buy the same thing? Would you do it? No. People. That's the thing. Bad money drives good money out, and I use that term very loosely. It's a concept that when something of value gets replaced by something that is worthless, the things of value get taken out of the equation. They get hoarded and they get pulled away. And that's why the term junk silver came into play. They wanted to debase the idea that it was just junk. And that's the Silver Users Association did a great job of keeping all the values of that down. They're doing it now. We're talking a 25% drop, and I don't check this very often anymore, but I checked the other day, and yeah, we're dealing with a 25% drop off in silver since in the last 6 months, since December, and that's all manipulation. That's all smoke and mirrors in the stock markets. I watched that for years. I could call I should have been playing the markets, but then I'd be an Uber cannibal at this point. But no, it was a hobby for me. I just loved watching it and calling it and going, yeah, I knew that was going up and I knew that was going to fall off and I knew that's bullshit and I know that. Right? You start setting your watch to these things because they're so predictable. Thieves are predictable. If you don't think they're predictable, think again. What is the intent of a thief? To steal. Are they going to do it up front? No. Are they going to do it behind doors? Yeah. Will they leave telltale marks? Always. A thief will always leave a clue. Sorry, when you take something out of somewhere, someone's going to notice it. And I just got good at noticing. That's all.
Yeah, it's like a calling card.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's it. Look at any crime, any crime scene, unquote. Right? What we're dealing with there are clues all over the place. It doesn't matter what kind of crime it is. There are always clues left behind. The fact that someone was there means their DNA was left behind. If they weren't breathing, it wouldn't have been. But even in your breathing, you're leaving DNA everywhere. You're losing millions upon millions of skin cells every day. So it doesn't matter where you go, what you touch. A breeze passes you, you're dropping DNA all over the place. We're very messy meat sticks. And if you touch something, woe betide you if you touch something. You'll leave a print, you'll leave a mark. And go ahead and try and set everything back up the way it was. You'll miss something. Everyone always does. There's no such thing as a perfect crime. Oh, they do try, though. I will give them credit for that. They do try. But they're caught now. And those same dark entities are being pushed into the oceans of truth right now. And it was just glorious to watch all those kids that were standing on the beach, and you got maybe 8 to 10 cops in the water, and I'm laughing because they're trying to wrestle this guy down. I'm thinking, buddy, you got a lot of people to try to get through if you think you're going to grab anybody. Because you're separated. Here's the divide and conquer that we do. Because now you have been segregated from all the rest of your gang. You're on your own. And I got to tell you, it probably wouldn't take a whole lot for them just to keep pushing them out to the point where they would either have to lose their bulletproof vests and all their weapons and everything else, or they'll drown. I mean, here's the thing. If you put that's the thing about truth. Truth will either save you or kill you. You get to choose, though. There's no halfway here, guys. There isn't. The perfect center point, there's your choice. The truth will either, you'll float on it or you'll drown in it. And the ego is so stubborn. I'll tell you, here's an example, an allegory of the ego being stubborn. You got these guys, if they were getting pushed out, how many do you think would start doffing off their gear once the water was getting too deep? Or do you think they'd cling on to that for as long as possible until the point where it is too late and they don't have the strength to actually take the jackets and stuff off? Because it's a lot of work. Trying to keep yourself afloat. And, of course, then you got to try to take this thing off, and good luck. And here's the other thing, too. What, are you going to try to tase somebody in the ocean? Because I guarantee you tase somebody, as soon as they're underwater, it shorts it out and goes right back up the line to you. Hope you enjoy it. So go ahead, tase yourself. What, you're going to pull out your 9mm penis extension? Your rounds are all wet. Duh. So look at the allegories. The truth destroys all evil. It destroys it. It cripples it. And all we got to do is be the willing ones to stand in it. And that's the thing. What we're dealing with more now than anything else, it's not so much that, everyone listening, it's not so much that you're not getting truths and you're not getting epiphanies and everything else. The only thing that I can see, and I see this quite regularly, where people will deny it. They go, yeah, well, that's right, but I can't do that. Well, that's fine. Then that's going to be a slingback for you. I would recommend, if anybody cannot handle any more truth and will not be able to stand in it, please stop listening. For your own benefit and for your own safety. Because the truths that we learn to stand in are the ones that will protect us, and the truths that we learn to deny because we're fully aware of it are the ones that will take you out. That's the rubber band effect. As within, so without. If you have a truth within and you don't put it in the without, then you're out of balance. And nature always comes into balance. That's law numero uno. 0 point. The pendulum must always return. You know the saying, what goes around comes around. I just add a little thing to the end of it. So wait with open arms to get ready to duck, and you better be quick. There's a lot of responsibility, and that's one of the reasons why I've said this many times on the air. There's a lot of responsibility in what I do. I'm very, very aware of what I speak of. I'm very aware of the responsibility I have to you. That's why I walk the straight and narrow to the extreme that I do. And the more extreme I get on that straight and narrow, the more downloads come in. But here's the mismatch, though. You see, when you have epiphanies and you don't stand in them, you don't act in them, those epiphanies are they're the equal blessing and the equal curse. Because once you understand a truth and you will not stand in it, things start to get magnetically attracted to you. So when you're seeking your, quote, freedom, unquote, and the truth shall set you free, there is a great deal of responsibility to it. And this, Jeremiah, what you were saying, trying to talk to a born-again Christian, you might as well talk to a fucking monkey. Seriously, I mean, they're trained, and there's so much fear put into them. And this applies to anybody, any religion. I don't care if you're Jew, Muslim, Christian, Hindu. Fuck, I don't give a goddamn what you are. You're programmed. If you call yourself any religion, you're a meat stick. And you are in a grinder, and you're going to get recycled, okay? They're going to take your spirit and harvest it. And you'll come back, and you'll keep doing it until you figure it out. So the only choice you have to make is this. Am I really wanting to come back and play this garbage as a slave again? Or am I going to set myself onto higher standards? Am I going to climb out of this mess on Jacob's ladder? The rungs are truth. You know, when you ever hear the expression, well, that rings true. Because you had your bell rung. That's why they call them ladder rungs. See the allegories, how they all start to piece together and connect, and everything makes sense of everything? But I tell you, and I don't mince words. Well, yeah, I do actually. See, I mince words, but I don't mince words, which means I'm straight shooting at you. If you're not ready for the truth, if you're not ready to stand in it, I'm going to urge you to stop listening. And I bet you've never heard that from a radio host before. Because I don't want to take I don't want to take responsibility for you knowing the truth, and I'm sharing it on grand scale. I know that. These are all truths. These are all resonant. Anything that resonates with you that I'm bringing up is truth. That's what truth is. It's a resonant bell. Okay? So I got a great responsibility here if I'm going to keep doing this, and I will. This is what I do. I've already made my free will choice to do this. And I could be talking to 0 or 1,000,000. It does not matter to me. Because I'm sitting here right now, and if I didn't see people on the line here, and I wasn't talking to you, Jeremiah, or Billy a few minutes ago, I would always assume that I'm just talking to myself anyway. And, you know, and how many times have you found that with yourself? Just talking, you know, you're talking to somebody, but you might as well be talking to yourself because they're not hearing you. Their channel is welded on channel 3, right? You need to get them to channel 12, which is 3 again, but it's a different version, right? So, you know, there's a lot of responsibility here, guys. With knowledge comes responsibility. Once you get the knowledge and the responsibility, then you get control. And I'm not talking about controlling others. That's what happened. Certain entities, aspects of our consciousness had this truth and has this truth that we are slowly unveiling. Actually, not slowly. We're ripping it down now. The wallpaper's coming off. It's been soaked with truth. And a little sodium phosphate, too. Oh, there's that cell salt, sodium phosphate. Yeah. Just a coincidence, though. Look away. But these entities that have been controlling this place for so very long had this knowledge, and they're using it for ill purpose. There's the control aspect. And the only thing you need to control is your own helm, your own ship, your own mind. You've got your own universes to build. You can build whatever you want. And we're partaking in this as part of this one consciousness from different perspectives to I don't know, getting some pretty cool ideas of the things that I want to put in my universe. It's good shopping here. But that's basically it. Because I'm not kidding. I remember just before my dad left. Just before. I remember looking in his eyes, and they were faraway eyes. But I saw the moment of, oh shit. And I'm glad I had the conversations I did with my dad. And I'm hoping at that instant, I told him a few days before he left, listen, when you see the light, and you will, go the other way. Be your own light. Go 180 degrees. Because this church, all the rest of the crap that goes along with it is teaching you to, you know, go to the light. How many times have you heard people come out, well, you know, I went to the light and I saw my family and all the rest of it and blah, blah, blah. And you saw an illusion because your fucking program's still hooked up. Really, think about it. If your mind ain't your own, And how many of these people come back and go, well, and I met Jesus, and I met, yeah, sure you did. Sure you did. I mean, they've got you convinced that this physical illusion's real. Fuck, you'll believe anything. Sorry, it's a fact. I guess it has turned into Katie rant night. But anyway, go ahead, Jeremiah.
Well, I was just gonna say, what you believe after this afterlife or anything, you know, you will create it. And, what do you want to create?
Well, I think hell's a pretty good idea. Rome came up with that one. No, you're in hell, boys and girls. It doesn't get shittier than this. Well, it could probably, but I don't think I'm going to sign up for that program. I think I've had enough. You know, and remember, you guys are you're in human form, for crying out loud. Take the win. You got consciousness here that looks just like a barbecue. What do you think it's made of? It's made of consciousness, guys. So look forward to me. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. I was going to say, well, it says when you go to hell, you know, you're a spirit, right? Apparently, this is what Bill Donahue, questioned in, church at age like 6 or something.
I was going to say 6 months.
Yeah. yeah, no kidding. But he questioned, the spirits, can they catch on fire, And well, no, they can't. So how can there be internal damnation and hell? How could your fire, your soul, spirit be, barbecued for an eternity?
Oh, that was Jordan Maxwell when the priest didn't like him, told him to shut up. Yeah, I'm sure Bill probably said the same thing too. I'm pretty sure I've heard him say that. But there's a prime example, right? Is the spirit eternal and infinite, immortal? He says, yeah. Well, how can you burn it? Actually, there's a great video that, speaking of Bill Donahue, it's a quantum. I'll have to look it up, but anyway. I think it's called quantum mechanics, something. And actually, Bill speaks of the experiment where they destroyed a photon of light, so they thought. They destroyed it, and lo and behold, 3 feet away, it reappears. You can't destroy
no kidding,
it.
Huh?
Yeah. You can't destroy it. They tried to do it in the lab and they couldn't do it. He does a really good explanation on it too.
Right,
as it relates to the Trinity.
Beautiful. Is this one of his little lectures that he does on YouTube?
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Checking my desktop to see if I can find the name of it. I have it. I don't think there's not too many videos of his I don't have.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I take truth seriously. If you knew how many hours I've been at this, how many years.
Right.
See, people forget, when I'm talking to people, and this is probably the issue I have. The only time I feel at home is when I'm talking to you guys, because the vast majority of people I talk to they get their head stuck in the ground, right?
Vice versa, absolutely. You can't talk to anyone about this stuff.
No, you can't. It's mental.
It's just. You got to break down those walls first. You got to get them angry and upset and crying, and then start to question things. And then, once they figure shit out, and then they start to simulate, all of the false distractions, and then they can start to piece together what is actually going on.
Exactly. What it is, I come outside. It's like not raining. I come outside. No sooner do I come out here, what happens? Unbelievable.
More rain. Well, it's pouring truth. You can't help that.
Well, that's exactly how I look at it. The sky looks great too. It's like not very thick cloud here. I don't know. Well, yeah, one cloud I could see as being full of rain, but it's like I can almost see blue through them, right? Crazy. Anyway, yeah, cool.
Wow.
Supermoon Day.
Boston. Yeah, beautiful. I'm on the Boston Pier right now.
Oh, nice.
Sunset. Yeah, overlooking Boston, waiting to swing around the terminals here. But yeah, this is where it all started in America, I believe, right?
Yeah. And there's the Boston Love Party. I think I called it T, right?
All right.
Start looking at the words for what they are. Wow. Little cloudburst. If it comes straight down, I'm okay where I am. And the crowd goes crazy. Listen to the applause. Okay, I was looking for that video for you. Hang on, let me just get the title of it, and you guys, I'll post it on Facebook anyway. Another great one is Gnostics, The Great Secret, Triangle Mystery, Those Who Ignore the Signs, and I don't have this one in this file here. I'll have to check another one. But I'll pick it up for you guys. It's actually one of the more recent ones that he put back out again. See, that's the thing, is I spend a lot of time on his channel, so a lot of the videos that come out I've already watched. So, but that's the neat thing about it, though. I better step in just a little bit here. That's the neat thing about it. I got a great idea. Why don't I just set this right bloody well here? I don't have to deal with it. There we go. Okay. And then I will actually. What are we doing for clock here? I got half an hour, so I think I'll do the second essay in the rollover. Oh, and by the way, guys, I really my Skype gets hacked to nines when I bring people in, so I'm gonna have to ask people to call in. You got half an hour. It's easy to do. You're not gonna miss anything, and if you do, well, grab the archive. It's just it just loads my Skype up too much, and so I just wanted to get that out there. It's not that I don't want to bring people in. I'd love to. That makes it so much easier in so many ways. But it's crashed the show a few times, and you know that takes it away from everybody else. So fair enough. I think that's fair. So let's get back to some meat and potatoes. We were having some fun there, Jer.
Absolutely. That's a good time. I'm looking at the water. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's I miss the ocean. That's the trouble with being born on an island. You kind of miss the ocean when you're nowhere near it. You really miss it.
I know, especially when you're born, near it. That's where your
500
home
meters
is.
away, buddy.
Wow, that is gorgeous. You'll be back there, Kate. We all will.
I know.
We all will be back home. It'll be beautiful.
Oh, the world I'm creating right now? Absolutely. And that's it. So I really do want to drive this whole truth point home, You can be part of the truther movement if you want, and feel all special about yourself, and I know this, and I know that, and I know the other, and I look special, and all the rest of it. And you can do that all day long. But I'll tell you, you're not fooling anyone except yourself. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with truth. A lot. And there are very few that can handle that responsibility to any level. I just want to make people mindful of that. Just because you know truth doesn't make you special. What it does is it makes you responsible. It makes you responsible not only to yourself, but to the others that are standing in it with you. That's what the collective consciousness is about. That's about bringing the one together. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense if one is standing in the truth diligently, clinging by the thread that's been oiled, with all fingernails ripped off. Oh, it's okay. They've got the thread. I'll just go over here and I'll still fuck around over there and do this, that, and the other. But I know the truth. And we do this together, right? That's how the saying goes. One I've been working on anyway. So there's a great responsibility to it. Don't take it lightly. And certainly, if you cannot handle the truth, I am deadly serious when I say this. Stop listening. Stop listening now. Because I do not want to wish harm upon anyone. And I'll tell you, the truth that you find and the truth that you resonate with that you will not stand in will come back and fucking haunt you. I promise you that. I know. I've seen it. I've lived it. It's why when I made my deal, I said, okay, that's it. No room for error. That's why it's a narrow road. It's such a... everyone's so busy worrying about, traditions and family and holidays and physical and material. Get this, get that, buy this house, buy that, Oh, here's a question for you. What would you call it if a real estate agent knew that someone that was buying a house didn't have a down payment for it and offered that individual that they're, selling the house to the down payment money to pay them back? What would you call that?
I'm having trouble following that. One more time.
Okay, let's say I'm a a real estate agent and I'm trying to sell you a house, and the deal's all done and it comes down to the down payment part. Say you have to come up with $5,000. Okay. I'm being allegorical. This is a literal thing that I'm talking about here, but I'm going to keep it allegorical. Okay. All right. So Jeremiah, you say, okay, well I can do everything but the down payment. I don't have money for down payment, so cancel the deal. And then I turn to you, Jeremiah. I say, well, don't worry about it. I'll lend you the $5,000. You can pay me back. What would that create? I know exactly what it creates. This is how desperate the system is. This is a real life situation, by the way. I just got wind of today. It's called conflict of interest. That's how desperate the system is, where they got real estate agents actually offering up down, to pay the down payment. Of course, on a $350,000 house. At 6%, you're dealing $20,000+ in commissions, $23,000. Of course, I'll lend you $5,000, and you can pay me back. But it's a conflict of interest. You see, because the whole idea behind it, the whole concept behind down payment is for the individual to put their money into it, right? Commit. I mean, in all the bullshit of all it is, there are still very basic concepts that are still there, that were the original concepts that have been included. But they're still there, right? It's called faith. Faith in the borrower. Again, never a borrower nor a lender be. That's the biggest mistake you can make. That's a direct conflict of interest. That's aiding and abetting into a contract.
Wow.
Because the real estate agent is so desperate to make their commissions, and of course the bank, as soon as you put your signature down, which they've already done, and I asked, was there a little X there where you signed? I said, yeah, oh yeah, good. Then you gave them your signature, and they can do whatever they want with it now. You're now the accommodator of their party. Because the X means no consideration, you fool. That's why they call it a signature. Signet ring, seal it. Seal, say all, S-E-A-L, which is himself, herself, itself, your complete being, your toto genre, all. That's why seals, if you must write something, make sure you seal it. That's why I use the word seal in my document. This document's sealed, and a seal is a promise of the highest order. It's a spiritual contract. That's why when you get a birth certificate, it's got a seal, under seal, right? So you got to break the seal. The intent, as I've talked about before, the intent, of course, on the other party's side was to deceive and not tell you what's really going on. So the intent to commit fraud was already there. So it's a fraudulent contract ab initio before it began. Right? That's why all birth certificates are null and void, just based on that one concept. That's a divine feminine creation set free, by the way. You see, and the proof of it is going to be when the U.S. currency drops through into oblivion. That's going to be the ghost ship and all the souls being set free. There's your wake-up moment. Now, you're going to have a lot of people in a panic, and they're going to have people like us going, yeah, finally. Right? See the good and evil? Same time? Most people are caught in between those worlds. Right? Well, how am I going to pay this, and how am I going to buy this? You won't need to. Don't worry about it. It'll sort itself out. I mean, hell, what did they do, 10,000 years ago? Better yet, look at that tribe in Africa, Australia I was talking about. That guy who thought, I'm going to do a documentary by fucking up the entire existence of a tribe that doesn't know any different. I'm going to take them out of the Stone Age and bring them into the Steel Age. Didn't bother to stop and ask if he should or not. No, let's take something completely pure and piss in it, right? Well, I won't say piss in it because that is pure, but let's throw let's walk to a beautiful, pristine pond and we'll throw a, barrel of oil in it. And that's exactly what he did. We can see the good of it, like, woo, because we get to see the contrast. But that one individual walking in where he did destroyed their entire reality. Maybe he should have thought, should I do this? How would I feel if my whole world was destroyed and it was a perfect symbiotic relationship this I've had with nature? They were always on the move, and their whole day was, about being together and gathering sustenance and, living together in a perfect, community unit. There wasn't family per se. That's family is the most. Look at family court. It's right there. Family is the most divisive thing we have, because you put your mom and your dad and your brothers and your sisters and cousins and everything else above everybody else in the world. I mean, you don't go visit some stranger for Christmas, do you? No, you separate yourselves. This is how we got separated. And the family is the most divisive structure on this planet. Because it says that someone close to you, because they're supposedly related, because somehow, meat sticks swapped DNA, matter more than someone else that has, the same DNA, and they're different color, and they're different part of the world, and they're different beliefs, but we're better than that, right? There's the white man doctrine right there in a nutshell. What the white man do? Woo! And this is the thing about being a dragon, too. It takes one to slay one, right? Of course, I'm about as Aryan as they get, with blonde hair, blue eyes, right? Of course, brought into a WASP family, white Anglo-Saxon Presbyterian, and raised to, rah-rah the queen and all the rest of the garbage that went along with that silly nonsense. And here I am, its worst nightmare. Well, because I could see the contrast, right? Takes one to slay one, and you want to catch a serial killer, you might want to start thinking how it how it thinks. Don't do what what a serial killer will do, but you can get kind of dark in that imagination thing, right? That's the thing, and that's where people are afraid to go. They don't want to step outside their comfort zones. And I'd say it's okay, but it's not. Because until we step outside of our comfort zones, we're just going to keep doing the same shit over and over. That's called insanity. I'm kind of done with the insanity thing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure done with it. But yeah, that's a true story about the real estate, by the way.
Well, that's good to know. I did not.
I've got a few emails to make. I just got to find out the company and the bank. Oh yeah, and they were too busy bragging about this agent, and makes 100 and something thousand a year, and drives leases a brand new Beamer every year, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, worship. Look at you worshiping the illusion. And they tell me this story, and I'm going, what? Really? Huh. I didn't say anything at that point, about it being a conflict of interest. I'm going to make commissions on something, so I'm gonna lend you the money to make those commissions. No, there's no conflict there. No, there's no playing favorites. There's no hedging the market, is there? Not at all. No. That's a problem. My hobby was economy and this was my hobby, guys, okay? Socioeconomic geopolitical study in real time. Fascinated me. I just love to see how the world worked, and then, watch one thing happening in one market to see it ripple around the world, right? One decision goes out, like the butterfly, right? There's the butterfly flapping its wings, creates a tsunami. It's the same way stock markets crash, and that's what's going to happen. Everything's going to come crashing to the ground. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men said, "Fuck it." That's the updated version. There's another version of it. I'm just telling you exactly what it's really saying. I think I'm kind of known for that now. You want to hear it straight? I'll tell you straight. You might not like what I have to say. I'm going to say it again, because I have to say it 3 times. If you're not ready to stand in the truth, stop listening to the show. Because I don't want to be responsible for giving you the truth that's going to harm you because you won't stand in it. I think that's fair.
Absolutely. And, if it hurts people, if it angers them or it upsets them, then they're going to ask why that is the case. And then they can figure it out. But absolutely, if you're standing in, if you're taking this truth, then you have to be responsible with it, and you have to know what you're doing with it in regards to your life and everyone else's life.
I got asked today, as far as I said it, I haven't made a paycheck in 3.5 years. I will have to do a shout out in the next day or so. I'm at that real desperate point again, but I wait till I'm almost bleeding to death before I say anything. But here's the thing. Talking with people today, and making X number of dollars a week, doing this, trucking or whatever, and oil fields and crazy money, and that's why gas is so expensive. They like keeping their slaves well paid, of course, and then of course they cost it back in taxes. What a joke! But anyway, where was I going here? It's because of the way you're thinking. That's what I said to them. It's the way you're thinking. Because you say to me, I don't want to be, like where you are, Kate, because, well, then you're the one keeping me here. You're the one that's, at the trough. I can give you all the pearls of wisdom I want all day long, but, they're just going to go in one end and out the other. At least I can get the pearls back because they'll be on all the shit because it went right through you. It didn't stop. Here's the thing. I said at the start of the show, if you're not part of the problem or the solution, you were creating the problem. Right? It's as simple as if everybody just stopped signing stuff now, this game's over. If everybody just stopped using money now, this game's over. If everyone said, take a week or two and say, listen, I'm taking involuntary holidays, the whole factory shuts down. How long do you think the factories will last? But what about my gadgets and gadgets and this and that and all the rest? Look at you worshipping your little whore. That's what I said to them too. It says, you're going right down on her, aren't you, bud? You're just in there mowing away. You're eating pure poison. And you don't know it. Crazy. Yeah, so and there's another fact. Where I'm at, I'm going to be here until I either, this game changes or I drop body. That's how committed I am. And I can't move until somebody else gets it to the same extent. Nothing changes. An idea is no good until it's agreed upon. But it has to be agreed upon fully. That's the if but one shall awaken. That's the one I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that one to awaken. Ain't me, I'm just a resonant bell. Right. So, that's it in a nutshell. So people can defend their lifestyles all they want. Well, I got this and that and the other. And yeah, I hear you. I told you, I was there once. I know exactly what you're saying. I was making great money when I made my choice to say, I can't do this anymore. Sorry, I can't make six figures anymore. Better yet, everything that I had put my entire life into was stolen anyway, so what does that matter? The universe did me a favor. I wouldn't be able to talk like this without it. Gratitude? You have no idea. Because I'd rather be free with the truth than enslaved with the gadgets and gadgets and got to have the nice new car, the nice new truck, got to buy the house, got to do this, got to do that, got to keep committing fraud after fraud after fraud. How long have I been talking about this? Even with the people I was talking to, they know about it, and they're still not clicking, still not sinking in. Right? You're committing fraud. Name ain't yours. It was sold. Your mom and dad sold it. Actually, they didn't. They gave it away. It's a gift. Look it up on Black's Law. A gift is given without consideration. And what they give back? An obligation. They skinned you. And they put it into a bond. What is a bond? Well, it sticks to you, doesn't it? That's what they call glue bond. And if you meet someone you like, you have a bond with them. It's all there. It's an ethereal bond. That's why I went after it from the ether. Certainly not going to figure it out in their courts. They run them. It's their church. You're going to play Monopoly with someone that likes changing the game every time you go around the board? Or are you going to stop playing? And there's a bunch of, free men on the land and sovereign citizens and all the rest of that bullshit I threw away a couple of years back because all I saw are a bunch of gimme-gimmes that can't take responsibility and just want the free ride. That was part of the process to get where I'm at. Fortunately, it was only a few months to get through it. You got to remember, it was May 2010 when I snapped out of it and saw things, and then of course, that's okay. That was the end of May, so we're talking June, July, August. I had 3 months to make a judge vow, and I did it. I was in the game for 3 months at that point, guys. You think I might have learned something in the last 3.5 years, or the 3.25 years since then? Maybe. Maybe I've had some experience that I'd like to share and show you what's going on allegorically. Just remember, what you learn here is yours. You hear these words and they resonate. Anything clicks with you, they're yours. Not my words anymore. You see, a truth isn't a truth because I say so. A truth is, just because. It's up to you to resonate with it and see it. It's like the line in Cloud Atlas. What's your version of the truth? Well, truth just is. Versions of it are mistruths. A truth is something we all get at the same time. There's no version of it. There's only one, right? There's maybe your side of the story as you see it in Bullshitville, that you want to, defend your wrongdoing against somebody else, right? First thing kicks in there is ego with emotion, and then of course all the justifiers come in. No, I don't drink too much. Really? Oh, I can drink and it doesn't affect me. Really? I've heard this story so many times. I heard it from my mom a lot, right up until the time she died. So go ahead, ask me if I believe it. Or maybe I might know what it is. Maybe I might want to share these things. I'll be the hardest fucking mirror you'll ever look into, my friends. I promise you that. Why? Because I looked in mine all my life. And it was all backwards to me. I spent a lifetime trying to be wrong. Something wrong with me. There's something wrong, desperately wrong with me. And here I am now, sharing a truth here and there. I'm being sarcastic and not being arrogant either. Time's short. Right? And I care enough to do this. It's all I do. And that's not a victim idea either. So anyone that has that, take your ego and shove it up your ass where it came from. Now this is what's called unconditional love. I don't place any conditions on it. I do it because I can. Not because I have to, not because I want to, not because I need to. I apply the same rules as I did with my guitar. I wasn't on stage because I had to be there, and I needed to be there, and I wanted to be there. I'm there because I was there because I could be. I'll tell you the story of that too. It goes back to my best friend's dad, actually. The guy that's with my ex-wife now. His dad came up to me. I was sitting on the curb out in front of my buddy's place, playing my guitar and singing. I was maybe I was probably still 16, maybe 17. Just sitting on the curb singing a song I wrote. And he walked up to me. He says, you're pretty good at that. I said, well, thanks. And he says, you really should think about, doing that. Like, you're good enough to do that on the stage and stuff and actually make a life out of it. And I said, really, you think so? He said, yeah, I do. And I said, okay. Then at that point I decided, well, I could do this. But I'll tell you, it's not something granted, I mean, the shows and stuff and the energy after it and everything else was great, but I tell you, the grit and garbage I had to go through just to get to the stage, to do my thing, to get off the stage, to finally go, oh, thank God that's over. Excuse me, and feel great about it and want to get back there because you're finally caught up in the energy. And that's where that stage persona came out to play, right? So I should probably check to see how much time we got left here on the... Yeah, we got we're almost to the rollover. So guys, if you guys want to jump in, into the show, you're going to refresh your page, hit your Skype button. It's not rocket science. It's so very easy to do. Even I have to do it every night. Granted, it's a different board, but I actually go through more of a hassle than you do to get onto the shows. I promise you. So don't be thinking that you can't do it, because you can. You can also call in at area code 661-467-2401. There we go. Just checking the board here, see if anybody else... Oh, we lost... I was wondering why Jeremiah got quiet there. We lost him. Well, I guess that explains that, doesn't it? Yeah, so anybody else want to join in? I'm not sure if Colleen made the call tonight. I was really hoping she was, because she had a beautiful energy. That's why I was kind of hoping to start with it. But there you go. We're going to roll into the next hour. I got lots to say. Oh, there's Colleen now. Thank you. See, I love when people listen. Beautiful. There you go. So let's bring Colleen in. So great big thanks to criticalmassradio.co.uk for giving us this platform where I can tear everyone a brand new universal asshole every single night of the week, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, midnight to 2 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. There you go. Colleen, how are you?
I came to have my truth bell rung.
Well, I'll ring your bell, baby, promise.
I just have to say that, first, that what a beautiful being you are, Kate. And I know it's a reflection of me and all of us. But
yes, it is. Thank you, and thank you for seeing that in you.
Oh, yes. And how you always keep your word, your integrity, and you're so aware, and you always follow through, and I just want to acknowledge you for that. And it's an honor to pull up at this truth table. And it may not always sound so comfy and cozy, just how truth is sometimes.
Is that the truth? This will not be comfortable.
Yes. But the truth, there's nowhere else like this on any of the other hosts or shows that I sure know about. And it really is about ringing our bell and shaking us up and really looking at real truth and being brave enough to be here and just staying open, our hearts open to listen to it. I had a teacher years ago, and I had other people just drop away, and they said, how can you be there and let them talk to you like that? And I knew that they were calling me on my stuff, and as uncomfortable as it is and was, it really is where you find freedom if you're willing to look at it. So I just want to acknowledge you for that, Kate. And also, I know that it's challenging, I guess would be the word for you, to ask for help. And I totally understand that. And I do have to share this, and I hope it's okay with you. A few months ago when both you and Tony were having a tough time, I got on and I said I wanted to help in some way. And I talked to you later, and you told me that for me just to send it all to Tony because Tony was having a tough time. And you were, at that time, and you always do, you're looking out for everybody else. And I just want to put it out there to everyone. I have a little bit of extra money coming, and I have it marked for Kate this time, or however Kate wants it. I'll work with it however, Kate, that it helps you. And helping you, we're all helping ourselves.
That's
so
how
if everyone,
yes,
if everyone could see that, and there's nobody else that comes on every single day with the knowledge and the truth and your experience, and that shares so freely. And I know it's not from ego. Somebody may say, well, they love to be on stage or they love to be on the radio to hear themselves, and I know that you're doing it really for everyone, but also for yourself.
This is all I have left, hon. This is all
yes,
I have left.
All of us, really. When it comes down to it, that's all we have left.
At the end of the day, this is, for me, this is all I have left. This is the only thing that keeps me going. It's the only thing. Because and that's not a pity party. That's not a victim. This is the reality of a truth walk. And this is the hard part for people. Once they take a certain distance down this road, they end up going, ooh, this is getting a little tougher than I thought. I said, damn straight it is. Anything worth having, I better be ready to earn it. And the joy of it is once you get through it, you don't have to do it again. You've learned the lesson. It's a truth learned. You never have to relearn it. That's the joy of, think of it as a video game. It's going through these levels. This lifetime is just a level. The more, bits of armor you can pick up, the more, extra special weapons or whatever, analogy, right, that you can get. Keep them forever. That's what truth is. That is your absolute armor. That is your absolute shield and sword at the same time. And that's what I'm here to do. Call me greedy. I'm trying to get up as many, add-on extras and bits and karma coins as I can get my hands on, because I sure as hell don't want to come back to this. Not in this form. I mean, there are physical realities. This is only one of infinite physical realities that we're in. This is a reality to me where we really get put to the test. And not everyone's going to make this level. It's like, yeah, I can do that. And of course, you're the super being and everything else. And really, okay, well, you're going to be completely, dumbed down and everything. And yeah, I can do that. I'll have clues and stuff, and I'll set that up. And at the time you're thinking, I have all the answers at that moment, and all of a sudden, bam, wah, and you've got no memory left. Oh, let's see how good you are now. God, shall we? So much for God mode. But yeah, I actually remember that call, and I
of course
am.
You do.
I am not. See, here's my quandary. You see, in what I see in an ego-driven world, completely ego. This is my only reservation on it. If I ask for help, ego will always label it. Oh, they're just doing it for money, right? So. Okay, fine. I'll go into a complete state of desperation and only ask absolutely when I absolutely have to. And even then, I'm very reluctant because of the perceived ego notions of it. Hell, I don't have a bank account. I have no means of. I have a friend that can help, and that's it. I'm very lucky to have her. Yeah. And the intent's there, but that I give you my word on. Anything that comes at me is. And it's just going to keep my mouth flipping on the air and keep my downloads coming from the ether until I said to the last breath, and I meant that. Death doesn't scare me. I've confronted it many times. It's an illusion.
Well, last night when you and Santos were on, and you were speaking about the key, the chi, the cross.
Yes, Kiro.
Yes. And I don't know if you remember, right when you were talking, the goose came over and was honking.
Yes.
And you're talking about the cross, and I happened to look up, and there was a chemtrail, and there was another one being laid down, sprayed, and it was going across the other one like a cross.
Oh,
when you said that.
There's a unicorn in the sky right now. I just looked up and said, what did you have to show me? And there's the unicorn head with the unicorn on it. In a cloud. Just coincidence. Look away, everybody.
Oh, yes. And the goose, of course, is related to the swan. I wonder if the unicorn wouldn't be. But at that time, I remember it was just such a beautiful flow, that volleying of truth back and forth with you and Santos. And then the goose was honking. And so I had looked up symbology of the goose, and one of the things it says is and you had talked about, I believe, the goose not too many days ago. And it says
the goose, taking the lead, yes.
Yes, and it says they constantly shift formation, creating wind drafts and easier flights for those behind them in the formation. This reminds us that as any one individual makes his or her quest, it becomes easier for others to do so as well. And so you and Santos were that flow of truth, and that reminded me of the night Lisa was on, and she was saying about, well, doesn't everyone have to go through it too before they can come to the truth? And you were saying to her that, well, that's why you've already gone through it. So if you can make it easier for others and that they don't have to go through that. Do you remember that night?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the mainstays of my existence. I don't want people to have to go through what I did, but I also don't want to take from their experience either. You know. So it's very careful ground that free will choice.
Yeah, it's kind of like on the edge there, on the razor's edge with that one. Yes. Also, oh shoot, I lost my thought there on that.
Well, just to add to what you just said there, that's why when people come and listen and sit around this table that we have set for ourselves, when they come to this table, they've made the free will choice to be here. You also have the free will choice to leave at any given time, and I know I've thrown off a lot of people because they get to a certain level of truth that they can accept, and then they get to a point where it's, well, that's going to be a little hard for me to stand in, of course, and they have to go off and fall a bit more. And that's fine. That's their choice. You see, first time here might be a coincidence that you show up just per chance, but the second time you made a clear-cut choice. You made contract with the universe to say that you want to be here at this time. There is only now, and you're here right now. Right?
Yes, or the present, right?
Yeah, the present. Yeah, I shared that concept with someone today, and they went, "That's neat. Seeing it, aren't you? Yeah, time to get out of the past here, right?"
Well, my thought was about that. Well, you don't have to go through it too. I had the vision of, say that there was, you were driving down a road and you ran through a big pothole and it messed up your car, and you know other people were coming behind you, so you kind of pulled over and you flagged them to go around it because it was hard to see. And
exactly.
So, yeah. And so, did they have to go through that pothole and mess their car up too?
No, and most of them will go around you. Here's the ego in action. Most of them will go around you and say thanks and drive off.
Yes.
You might have one that'll stop and say, "Listen, thank you for that. Is there any chance that I can return, saving my, suspension, to get you back on the road?" And I've spent my life watching people just drive by.
Yes.
You know? That's the whole rescue thing that I had to learn too. So you know what? Sink or swim, guys. I don't rescue anyone anymore.
The time of just driving by is over, isn't it? It's like you said. It's like, and Santos has said. I've heard him before too. It's, the time is of urgent, and you guys were talking about. You were using the word purging last night too.
Yes.
And I have never heard so many people at this time saying that this is the most challenging period of their entire life. We either have to let go of all these programs, or we're being forced to let go. And a lot of that program from purging is that religious thing of sin and guilt, and then what comes from that is that whole program of not good enough. And I mean, even just to get on here, it's like that feeling of stage fright and making yourself get over it. What is that?
I have no idea.
Good enough.
I don't know, Colleen. You don't have any problem talking with me, do you? Just a phone call.
No.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, I see them on the board all the time. They'll show up and they never want to come on. Call it stage fright, call it whatever you want. Hey, guess what? I know what that feels like. Probably a lot more than you do.
Oh yeah.
It's that's the thing. Like even now, it's not like it used to be, but even now, it's just that little countdown. Your show will start in 5, 4. It's like you get that rush, that little rush ahead of it. And then of course the intro song, I get a chance just to. Okay, what am I going to talk about? I don't know. I'll just talk. Right? That's the thing. I don't plan on anything coming on here. I did think about doing the essays earlier. I thought that would be good. I don't think we'll get to part 2 tonight. I'll do that tomorrow night. This is way too much fun. There's way too much responsibility to hand it out here.
Yeah.
But you're right. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, I'm out here I'm like you. If I can, I'd always be outside, out here with Christopher Robin and Pooh.
You got it, baby.
You had on your essay. I read it. It's like I'm on the 4th time reading it. It's just so much in it. Just so much. And the last thing I want to say is just reading that and everything. It always is about coming back home to ourselves.
Yeah. I'm just painting the path home. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to get you back. I'm talking third party. You know me. I only speak third party, which includes me. I'm trying to get you back home to the place that you have, back to the woods with Christopher Robin and Pooh, back to that beautiful innocence, that beautiful pure creation essence that you are, that we have been so divided and conquered. You know, look at the physical, right? The whole male-female thing. It's like, look at, and you know people that are out of balance. You got the overly emotional, whiny, victim, security-laden female, and the over-macho wanting to beat the shit out of everything that comes across, male. You know, those are energies that are right out of balance. And this whole pole shift. This is what the allegory of the pole shift is. Everyone was thinking it was the planet. Well, of course it is. It's the planet, it's you, it's the universe. Everything's shifting. What happens here happens everywhere, guys. It happens all throughout the universe. The infinite universe. That's the butterfly flapping its wings. You are that butterfly. You are that powerful. And boy, did they convince you, and they got a whole lot of bits of consciousness into their game, eh? I think it's time to get out of prison. This is a prison break. I'll tell you, this
live like somebody left the gate open.
Oh yeah. And I tell you, this goose is tired.
Yes.
But I will fly. I wrote a song called "If Love Could." I actually have it. I should load it up for tomorrow night. It's the title track of my first solo album. If this eagle now with broken wings has somehow learned to fly. And that's what we all are. We're all eagles with broken wings, angels with broken wings, and our wings are healing. And all we have to do is choose to heal them. It's a fascinating game, this physical realm, isn't it?
It
Full
is.
of pitfalls.
It'll help your wings to heal faster if you drink the golden nectar.
Damn straight. And damn straight at that. Yeah, pun intended, I guess. Ooh. You know, but
I'm going to mute myself out.
Okay. I'm chatting with you. So okay. I'll leave your mic open, so if you feel like jumping in, feel free, okay? That's
right.
You know the rules here. There aren't any.
Thank you. And I love you so much, and I love everyone. And it is really, it's like we're back around the table again. We've been together before. Oh, yeah. We came as a soul group. We're going to leave as one. Yes. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to read, if you have time to read Raining Cats and Dogs too, but it's... Oh, okay. I'll do that then. Absolutely. It's powerful. Okay, Kate. Okay, I'll do that now. See you next time. Love you. Your mic's open, so mute on your end and jump whenever you feel like Katie. It. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right, well, Raining Cats and Dogs Part 2. Since I've got the program open, it's actually going to be a little bit faster to get Part 2 up. So all I got to do is go up to File. Here we are working in real time. As soon as it decides to want to open. Yes, saving the world on a not responding even. Hewlett-Packard notebook. Oh, the irony is just rife here. All right, here we go. Found it. Now let's go to Recents. No, down here. There we go. Recent. And we'll pull up Part 2, and I'll share that with you guys tonight. And where is it? Well, of course, that's in the way. Wouldn't make sense if it wasn't. Oh, I got to hold it with that. Oh, there we go. Part 2. There we go. Deep breath, boys and girls. Deep breath. Excuse me. My voice can hold out at night. Just waiting for it to load. It's not responding at the moment. We'll see if the universe wants me to read it or not. But in the meantime, I just get back to this whole concept of responsibility. You can learn all the truth you want. And you can go aha all day long. And then you can choose to ignore it. And then guess what happens? You get to wear the mirror of it.
So that truth that will set you free will also be the lie that puts you in prison, allegorically. Okay? So I just want to make sure that everyone is well aware of that. I'm just going to grab my mouse so I can scroll. It's easier. Yeah, great little mouse, by the way. Don't even know what make it is. Well, I probably do, but anyway, it was a cheapie. Hip Street, great little mouse. The only thing I don't like about it is on the side where your thumb goes. It's got two buttons. That's for moving pages on the internet forward and back, right? And if you brush it, it does it. And it's in a place where you brush it all the time. And I did that just at the start of the show there when the song was on. I lost the board, and of course, you know my computer and how much fun it is. Okay, so here we go. Leave a little space for Zach. Raining Cats and Dogs. On 4, 3, 2, 1. Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 2. Alas, the tales of werewolves and vampires abound in our literature, movies, and so forth. Stories of zombies walking the night in search of brain food have been more prevalent of late, with even the mainstream alphabet gangs jumping in on the fray. Where most will be entertained by the literal presentations, most will never see beyond the obvious to see the truths buried just out of view. Always keep in mind the term as above, so below, as below, so above, as we delve into the far more esoteric nature of this fabric we see as veiled reality. Indeed, it is veiled, and quite cleverly so. It is so obvious once you see it, you wonder how you missed it, and at least I know I did, for a while anyway. The atypical vampire, for example, is a dark creature that prowls the night in search of blood to keep itself as one of the physical immortals. Without the daily nourishment of blood, it cannot survive. Such is the lust for this food, and killing and draining others is just part of the lifestyle. They're also rather difficult to dispatch, with either dragging them into the sunlight or driving a stake through their hearts. The allegories are rife, and many with more layers being exposed as to what it really means and who and what they really are. While I'm sure there are many beings that practice the physical art of bloodletting and drinking, much akin to Vlad the Impaler, bloodline relative to Prince Charles no less, the true bloodletting is slightly more hidden and sinister. If it's not bad enough being drained of our day-to-day life forces being preyed upon for our creative energy, the truth lies just out of view. It is merely a matter of connecting the dots to see where our true spiritual energy is being siphoned off, without us giving a second thought when we do this every day, numerous times. For a little background, one needs to understand what blood actually is. The medical profession will have us believe that it's just a liquid carrying nutrients and oxygen through our bodies. But then I'd have to ask them to define plasma, as in blood plasma. Try to imagine a pump with walls no more than 2 millimeters thick, at its thickest point trying to pump a viscous liquid, like blood, to every point in a body, under pressure, 72 times per minute, for 100 years. Now factor in the atypical morbid obesity of so many of our population, and you'll get the notion that there is slightly more going on. Blood is a rather special liquid in many ways, but most don't know that it actually travels via implosions, delicately timed and balanced by the heart, which is our central sun, or Merkaba. Thank you, Matt Presti and Robert Otte, for your invaluable insights on this fact. Plasma, from late Latin plasma, from Greek plasma, something molded or created, is the matter of creation itself, literally an ethereal liquid between worlds. While much of what I'm sharing here might be a newer concept, the connected dots bear it out intuitively where the analytical ego is off. Modern science has uncovered many things regarding the human body, but most of that remains on a need-to-know basis. Well, here's what you need to know. Blood is liquid ether, also known as spirit. Spirit is the ancient word for mother, or in short, creation herself. One of the biggest issues I see with people is that they are blissfully innocent and can't imagine doing to others what some do daily and with conscience. Here's a fact in that if one seeks to catch a serial killer, one must learn to think like one and confront the darker side of the imagination. For lack of a better way to say it, if I was a vampire and in need of daily sustenance, where could I get blood plasma without anyone knowing or simply caring? How could I get the masses to give me that plasma daily to survive, where I'd only periodically have to butcher someone to get it? For a vampire, the occasional slaughter of a child or someone would be like going out for dinner after a boring week of basic survival. Again, keep in mind the allegories here in that all things are purely electromagnetic, or more accurately, magno-electric. If I wanted to be the master over this world, I'd also have to be active in the duality of spiritual and physical control of others. That only makes sense to me. For a little basic biology in layman's terms, let's look at the blood circulatory system as it relates to cleaning the blood. We intake nutrients into the stomach, it's broken down, and the nutrients enter the bloodstream for delivery to all points of our bodies. The blood has to pass through the kidneys to be purified, and where nutrients can be balanced as well as the water content. Whatever isn't required at that moment gets strained off and deposited in the bladder, where the waste is purged through the intestines, where excess water is also strained off to maintain equilibrium. Trying to scroll here, there it goes. Oh, too much. Please don't forget that the human body is a finely tuned and perfect biological engine. The body knows exactly what it needs in the now. It does this all by itself, by design, so that you, the being, don't have to remember to keep your heart beating, hair growing, temperature controlled, digesting, separating viruses, etc. That's what the DNA program is for. With the blood purified and balanced, the remainder of the purified excess is placed where it can be used if necessary, since the strained plasma is pure life force. This liquid contains stem cells, aminos, proteins, and living life force itself, being that it is a blood extract. Well, simply put, would you willingly shove a needle in your arm to get rid of your blood on a daily basis? Well, I hate to tell you, that's exactly what we do when we toss our urine into sewer cesspools. Cess in Latin means tax. So what exactly are we being cessed for? Do they not call the places where the sewers are connected to water processing plants? And what exactly are the plants they're growing? Alas, too many questions keep popping up, but I'll keep this as simple and basic as I can, since it is only the concept, or with God, I am seeking to share. This is a perspective that I know few, if any, have looked into from an extremely outside the normal think realms. In order to maintain control over us, one has to control mind, body, and soul, yes? The body one is easy, since it is a constant topic every day in the form of genetically modified foods. Mutated genes and DNA get ingested and used by the body. You are what you eat, after all. To control the mind, one has to grasp the notion of the reptilian brainstem, transceiver, and adrenal glands being easily interfered with for those of weaker mind defenses. This is done through things like TV programs, smart meters, HARP, indoctrinations of school, politics, religion, sports, etc., with the more invisible means being carrier waves through electronic and electric fields that surround us. The 60 Hz electrogrid is the largest one, where 60 Hz cycle electricity is extremely harmful to us, in that one of its endearing qualities is interrupting our ability to enter REM sleep, or delta wave dream state. So, that only leaves the soul or spirit to conquer. Here's the real trick in the cosmic sense, however. We have to do it with full consent, ignorant by willful choice. The only reason that truth will set you free is that once you know something, you know it, and can make the willful choice to control your environment that has long been controlled by others of a less benevolent intent. For me, the connection had to be made from the ether, between the worlds, as it were. Inasmuch as oil and water cannot mix, they cannot even touch each other, where there is space between them. The simple truth is that if they could touch, they would mix into each other, but basic energy rules keep them apart. Their energies are not compatible. Let's connect the dots. Blood is both ether and physical in that it travels between the worlds of both, but never touches, where there is a merging of energies like an oil and vinegar salad dressing. Plasma can be centrifuged from the blood into separate components. That water is immutable, or in that water is immutable and contains memory or consciousness. Your consciousness. In order to conquer us, it must be done as above, so below in this duality realm, to keep us from ever finding our true centers. We have to be constantly distracted and knocked off balance to ensure this. We also have to do it willingly by consent. When we go to the toilets of convenience, we willfully share our life essence and the power it contains in this philosopher's stone with those that seek to harvest it. You can do your own research into what urea, urine, is used for, but it won't take long to see how valuable it truly is on a grander scale. Contained in your own urine is pure life force and everything your body needs to heal it, regenerate it, and make it immortal, literally. So here's a simple overview of the as above, so below. To be able to control both aspects, a grid above and below must be established. The electrical grid suffices for the above, and the sewer system, hidden out of view, is below. Would it not make more sense to bury the power cables as well, instead of the incredible repair costs and infrastructure of maintaining an above-ground system? Well, sure it would, but then the effects would be lost, in that there would be a grounding shield from Mother Earth protecting us. If one can see nature's allegories, one can see this one. A tree gets nutrients as above and so below, with two opposite and equal branching systems, with one set gathering food from the light and the other from the dark. This is also our root, or root system, as well, with our veins branching out through our bodies in perfect duality. They are hidden for the most part, yet they get light from within in the Merkaba known as the heart. This is not an easy concept to share, but once you see it, it makes perfect and balanced sense, both logically and intuitively. This allegory was shown perfectly in the efforts of D. Thomas Murphy, where he created a self-contained system for homes where nothing is expelled from the house. It creates energy for the home as well as making it completely self-sufficient, identical in allegory to the human body, our home. It's not that hard to see the allegories once you see things in the not-so-literal sense. In order to see them, both the microcosm and macrocosm have to be viewed in their respective mirrors of as above, so below. Inasmuch as we have to view things from within ourselves, we also have to take in the grander pictures that have been obscured from our view of reality. In this duality, one must view both the dark and light equally, as shown in the allegory of a tree. A tree has branches that reach out into the sky to absorb energy and food from the sun, while it also has branches that seek nutrients in the absolute dark of being underground. While a tree cannot seek nutrients from above during a long cold winter, it always has the earth to sustain it. We need to be this grounded as well. Just as the zodiac is the allegory for the human body, the truth is, these mirrors are everywhere you look, and I do mean everywhere. This is a brand new way of observing where one must learn to fully trust oneself. No room for doubts anymore. The biggest issue with trying to observe anything here is that we are always looking into the past, in that the speed of light is the proof and deciding factor. It takes light time to travel from the object you are observing, so you'll only ever see things as they were, not as they are. While the light speed is fast, it's not instant in the physical realms, and this is what allows time to be observed at all. The trick here is to start getting into the present moment ahead of the past light. This is where I see creation and where we were railroaded. You can test yourself on this at any point of the day, and I assure you, the trust in self won't take long to build up. I just say this to enable my present moment. I have eyes to see and ears to hear. Show me what it is I need to see and hear, universe. This is where the coincidences start to appear like magic. These are the things that resonate with your question you have going on in your mind, so please be specific about what it is you are looking to create for yourself. As an example, let's say I wanted to confirm something about my stance on the name game fraud, since that is what I was pondering. After asking the question of the universe, I go into observe mode and see what was created to come into view. The magic of coincidences is that they are proof positive of your ability to create, and you're just out of practice is all. After I put my intention question out, I look to see, and lo and behold, a truck drives by with the logo, no name, on its side. A couple of things have happened here. One, I got the answer I was looking for, and two, the truck had to already be already created to show up in that moment of now, so it was present already, meaning that I stepped into my own timeline in order to see that. This is not an easy concept to put into words where it's just a realization using intuitive logic. If I see the truck after the call out to the universe had to already have put it there so that it can show up when I asked when I did in the now moment of time. Being in the now moment is actually in the past as well, where creating is in the pre-time or present moment. It also works in reverse, where we continually create another's reality by being stuck in the now and past moment, by being triggered by seeing things presented to us. For example, if I was to see the no-name truck first, it would get me thinking about that subject, so I'm at effect to the observation versus being over it. This is why fear porn is such a powerful tool to keep people staring at the created past moments, to keep another's creation manifesting. Where attention goes, energy flows. An atom will act differently under observation, where each photon of light is an aspect of consciousness. I have deduced from that if light is consciousness and I am observing an external light, I am literally worshipping a God outside of myself. This is why I refer to external light as pure poison, and where only in our darkest place within can we find our own light. When one is the source of light, one is in control of time from source. I said long ago that someone has hijacked our projectors, and this seems to be the case more and more. As per the double-slit experiment, light, or more accurately, consciousness, is self-organizing, where only the intent of that consciousness needs to be interfered with in order to control it. The whole physical realm, as we are experiencing it, is the allegorical bread and circuses of Rome on a universal scale. Every thought we have matters, literally. So it is up to us, and us only, to regain control of our own intent, our own time, and our own creation, where others have been creating it for us for a very long time, an infinitely long time. We literally need to get back to our own futures by being in the present, ahead of the perceived now illusions. When we are occupying a body, we are in effect to it until we regain our ability to be cause over it. Ignorance is the greatest destroyer of all, and why certain entities have worked so very long and hard to keep us in a perpetual dumbed-down slave condition. The methods for this were outlined briefly earlier, but I'm sure you're getting the picture by now. I cannot even begin to stress the importance of getting dark, getting deep, and getting serious about our own state of being via meditation. If anyone doubts the power of mind over matter, simply take a look around yourself and see what has been manifested as a result of that simple concept we lust to doubt. Your body and you are completely self-contained units, albeit that our consciousness is in a bit of a Chinese finger trap at the moment. We constantly seek to find answers in the illusion without setting the parameters first. The only answers are the ones you create by entering the present, and the easiest way to do that is through meditation to get a handle on it. Once you start to see the results you need to see by just doing, you'll be in a less doubtful position. Think back as to why children were always given shit for daydreaming, and you'll start to grasp the extreme fear these entities have if we ever dare to do that with serious intent. It's time for us to get ahead of the clock here and take Kronos out with his own tricks, where his only trick is time illusion. While we maintain ourselves in the stupor of illusions and distractions, the clock owns us, and the intent of the clock, owner, rules the floor. It's time to get back to the Christopher Robin and Pooh, where the woods are our own again. It's not so tough to beat the clock when you're creating it. Look at all the time traps that have been set to keep us out of time with things like calendars, watches, holidays, etc. So many things to keep us locked in this reality as someone else sees it. We have been slaves to the punch clock for too long. We have worshipped all the wrong things and have been told repeatedly to never worship oneself. I have but one rule here. Whatever I am told by an external system, I go 180 degrees and I move quickly. Only in the mirror can we slay Medusa. No, Saturn, Satan, Set, Kronos. Time is up. So, on your marks, get set, go. Puns intended. To be continued in part 3. There you go. Yeah, I've got a few things to add to that. Part 3, I guarantee it will be very interesting. Let me get over to Skype. I haven't checked Skype in ages. Sorry, guys. I just, where we got? Just checking in with Ninja. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Good to hear. And quick note in from Brian. Bill Donahue, 321. Look at that, and that's what resonated with me when I saw it. 321, blast off. I saw that lots today, by the way, as well as it didn't matter where I looked. Every time I looked, it was 11, 15, or combination of 11 and 9, either 11, 9 or 9, 11. All right, there's a lot of allegories to that 9, 11, right? What is 9? 9 is consciousness, yeah? What is El-Ev or El-Eve-N? That's the power of spirit, the divine feminine essence, mine. That's what it means. So that's when you bring your consciousness into that, you've regained that which was taken from us, our ability to create, our divine feminine essence, that was taken physically through the register, which was a spiritual contract. It is being taken from us vampirically with our urine. As above, so below. Throw it into the say-wers. You can say sewer if you want. I see, S-E, which is himself, herself, itself. W-E-R, which is were. Or were, as in werewolf, right? You never question why it was always about werewolves and vampires? It's all there, the allegories, once you start seeing them. Start looking at movies and with an allegorical eye. You'll actually enjoy them a lot more. I know I just laugh my full head off every time I watch a movie. Oh, how we missed that one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, my. I tell you, once you guys start tripping out on the allegories and you get this aha moment, wow. Seriously, it's pretty cool. I like it. I think it works great for me. But that's just me, right? So I'm still coming back to the responsibility thing, though, guys. Do not take this game lightly. Your very existence is on the line. In a cause manner, you're infinite. So is a rock in its consciousness, too. Doesn't have a whole lot of cause over anything. The only cause a rock can have, say at the shore of the ocean or shore of a lake or whatever, is one of us that still has the ability to have cause over things in the physical universe, because we're still not completely lost. Don't take your being human for granted, by the way, at all. Me, in the human meat stick, I bend down, pick up that consciousness, that rock, very, very slow consciousness, no responsibility in a rock, by the way. Only the one that's throwing it. And you take that rock that took, 15,000 years to get washed ashore at the ocean, and you pick it up and you throw it as far out as you can get. And now it's going to take another 20,000 years for that rock to see air again. Can you just imagine what a rock consciousness would say? Oh, shit, not again. I just got to shore. Right? And do that for infinity? Wouldn't that be fun? Welcome to reality. Yeah, we can choose a lot of things. We can choose a lot of things. In the physical realm, we end up choosing usually the wrong shit. But that's the way the game plays. That's how things work, All I'm trying to do is share that which I have come across, and of course, all the great teachers of the past told us. I just chose to go, yeah, that being's got some shit going on. Okay, I can deal with that, right? So there you go. And those that are sleeping, that's fine. Stay asleep. Enjoy your next trip here. You'll get it eventually, or you won't. It's time for us to climb out of the beast. You have the mark of the beast, called a name. You're living in Sumeria as a Con-Sumerian. That's the whore of Babylon. I'm going to do my best over the next day or so to really present a lot more allegories for you, as the downloads permit, and as I remain wide open to it. Someone had asked what an empath is. An empath is a being that is wide open, that experiences the emotions of others around them. And the trouble with being an empath is you don't have a choice in it. You can turn it off as much as you want, but here's the thing. When you're an empath, you're not only juggling your own ego emotional state to try to, bring that under control. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with others, you get to deal with that one too. And it's not comfortable. Especially when you're trying to share truth with somebody and all they want to do is rip you a new one. That's why I don't do it. I'm tired of the proverbial chainsaw getting ripped back at me, but therein lies the lesson, so I don't do it. I don't cast the pearls before swine anymore because I know exactly what's going to happen to them. They're not going to get it, and it's just going to pass through them and come out the other end, and it won't have made a difference at all. And generally all you're going to end up doing is pissing people off. So just be the light. The moths will come to you, or they won't. Remember this. No one outside of you is your problem. No one. That was one of the biggest illusions. And I've talked about that whole concept of, caring enough about people outside of myself, always being there for them, only to get screwed over, ignored, hated, just general bad vibes. That's what I get for helping. So, okay, universe, got it. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to let people, those that are willing, if they don't want to come to the table, that's fine. Those that are willing to fall and do their own thing, that's what I was trying to get across to Lisa that night. Says they're not my responsibility. You know? If people are making the effort to come to the table, then we're doing it together. It's not like, it's not a handout anymore. And that's when you go out of your way to help people, just don't get it, and they've done that their whole lives. I've met many people like that, where they'll take from you what they can get until they get exactly what they need, and then then you're garbage. You get thrown to the curb. That's a normal operating procedure. That's pure ego. That's total self-serving. That's not being in service to self. That's serving self. Right? It's a mirror opposite. Now, the true service to self is the one that says, I need to get me fixed so that I can help others by being better myself. Versus, I'm going to, take this from that person, I'm going to use that from them, I'm going to, use them for this and use them for that, use them for the other, and as soon as they get everything that they need, their little universe is back to where they had it. Or in most cases around me, people's universes always seem to improve. That's what I mean. I've been a catalyst my whole life. I've watched people come into my life, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Come into my life, and then I give them a hand up and a hand out usually. And as soon as they get to a plateau, and then they excel past it. Of course, when they get past that, I'm worthless. It goes back to the parable, when Jesus and the lepers. When he healed a bunch of lepers, and they all ran off, all happy because they got exactly what they wanted. Only one came back to say, "Hey, you know what, bud? Thanks, appreciate that." The allegory of Lazarus being risen from the dead is the allegory of the zombies. The vast majority of the planet's population are zombies. They're walking dead. They don't know they're dead. They're carrying a name. They think it's them. But that's what the allegory of the zombie is. That's why they've been putting it in your face for so long. Did you see it, or did you miss it? When you walk with the ID of any kind whatsoever, and here's the thing, guys, and people talk to me about court things and that and the other. Here's the truth of the matter. I give you the fucking answer. It's in the I who shall not be named. It's all there. Read the long and short of it, and I who shall not be named. And if you grasp the concept that you're committing fraud by using your own name, that's all you need to present. Hey, listen, hey, bud, you into aiding and abetting people into fraud? It says right here it's a crown copyright. I don't. Who owns that? It's not mine. If I claim that, I'm a thief. If I claim to use it, I'm check kiting. I'm committing fraud with somebody else's property. That's why it's a copyright. It's a copy of the divine feminine right hemisphere, spiritual. Okay. The answer is you can shut any court down with it. I guarantee you. Just fire that in. You fire enough of these off. I mean, fuck, I've been doing it for years. Firing it into courts, firing it into the Vatican, into Buckingham Palace, into the White House. No, I didn't pick the local tax office. I picked the big guns. I figured, I'm going to get something done here. I might as well take out a general or two. At least I'll get missed that way. At least I'll start paying attention. So, people can talk to me all day long. It's like, people, and I got an email the other day, someone was on my old site, loveovermind.wordpress.com. It's still there, and the documents are all still there, and they're all quite useless. They're good for reading. That's what the people at least was talking to me about. It would be a good idea to start at the beginning of that, Dummy's Guide to Freedom, and work your way right up to kateofgaia.wordpress.com. And the answer's right there, but most people don't want the answer. They're too busy playing the physical meat stick game. They don't want the answer. There is vengeance. Got to get even. Oh, they fucked me over. And yeah, they did to me too. Get over it. I'm trying to stop people from having to go through this, if that's their wish. If not, then go ahead, carry on. You get your ass handed to you, I promise. I did. And go ahead and help lots of people, you know. Rescue everybody, and they'll fuck you over. They'll ignore you. Promise. Family members, friends, everybody, they'll all ignore you. Because they're controlled by ego. They don't care. As soon as they get what they want, as soon as they get to a little higher level of survival, you are shit in their world. And then they won't even be able to confront you about it. I know. It's been the story of my life. I finally figured that one out. Okay, I'm Irish and blonde. Get over it. What's your excuse? Takes a bit, right? So, yeah, that being said, there's a lot of responsibility in truth. And if you can't handle the responsibility, I'm actually going to urge you to not, seriously, to stop listening. You can't stand in the truth, I don't want you at the table. Because you're only going to hurt yourself. More importantly, you're going to hurt us, too. So you better start making some choices. You better start making the right ones. Because you know in your own hearts what the truth is. I know what it is for me. And I'm done sucking it up for everybody else. I'm a tired goose. I'd like to, step back into the wash a little bit. Remember I've said every time you hear me talking about being on stage, that's exactly where I never wanted to be, front row center. And then it clicked with me one day, that's exactly why I am front row center. Because I don't want to be here. I have no vested interest in it. None at all. And this is the only thing that gives me a whole sense of purpose at all. I don't know about you guys, but punch in 12, 14 hours a day. Research, writing, going on there and everything else. Do that 7 days a week, and at the end of 7 days say, oh, no, don't worry about it, it's on me. And then do that for 3.5 years, after you've drained everything and had everything stolen from you. Do you think I have a vested interest in something here? That I'm some sort of sadomasochist, that I just want to beat the shit out of myself? That I'm ecstatically happy with the situation that I have right now? Seriously? No. I go back to that Amanda Palmer thing when she was talking about calling out to her fans. I don't ever know. I'll speak in her lingo just because that's what she said. So I'll keep it. No. The only thing that's at this table are equals. No such thing as fans. And actually, if you are fans, you're just fanning the fires of truth. So we're all fans of each other. Fair? Good. Okay. And the label, I told the story. Label wasn't happy that they only sold 25,000 copies of her CD, and that is, in radio or record label terms, that's a flop. You got to do 50 to 75,000 to consider a remote success, right? 100,000 when it goes gold, that's a success. Because they've turned, figure it out. What's an album worth right now? About, say, $20 for a CD that costs maybe 30 cents to put together? It's good net. I tell you, the production companies, they make a good penny on it, right? I'll get into that sometime. I tell you the breakdowns that make your head spin. So when an independent artist says, $5 or $10 for a CD, at least you know that they're getting the money, because most artists don't. But Amanda came on and said they only sold 25,000 CDs, and that was a fail for that record. And she decided at that point that screw it, I'm just going to give my music away. I decided that a long time ago. You see the allegories and how the universe lines up, and you start seeing similar concepts coming together. Whoa, someone else is giving their music away, and just trusting in the universe. Imagine that, what a theory. Huh. And she does a call out to her fan base. And there was just under 25,000, I think, in her Twitter. I think it was Twitter she was using. And she raised $1.2 million. For music. How cool is that? Now let's factor in something else here. Let's take it to another level. See, I got one thing that Amanda didn't have. Well, I got the music, no question. I haven't listened to her stuff, but she strikes me as someone that's going to be incredibly creative and funky, beautiful, and just really. I will listen to some of it. Well, she's got a lot of the information out there. She's still in the system. She doesn't know who she is yet. She's got a good idea, and she's expressing it. One of the more awakened beings I've seen in a long time. But she's still in the system. She's still not where you are, right? So obviously she can't offer what we do. That's what we do. So not only do we have the music, we also have what we do here at the table every single night, 7 nights a week, right? And I still have a problem asking. Isn't that funny? No, because that's the biggest reason, and I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. The problem with the egos on this planet is they automatically always assume going to the wrong motive. Oh, Kate's just doing it for the money. Oh, yeah, she doesn't give a shit, and she's just in it to make money, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm totally ecstatic sleeping on a floor at a friend's place. Yeah, it's all about the money. Sarcasm abounds, right? And again, this is not a call out or anything. I'm just laying it on the line for you. Whatever comes in, and whatever doesn't. I'm at the mercy of my own creation. And as much as I am loath of it, I am unconditionally loving it. Because in this walk, in this one little part of the game that I'm playing here, people have asked me, how do you get these concepts? How do you, well, it's because I let go. I'm free falling. I let go of the illusion. I got rid of a lot of stuff off the ram. I emptied the camel. Matter of fact, I shaved it. That camel's stark naked in the desert, getting a nice suntan. That's the difference. You all have this ability. All of you. Every single one of you. You have the ability to connect with your higher self and download all the truth you need. Without me, you don't need me. And I've already told you guys many times that, don't believe a word I'm saying. Go and feel it out for yourself. I don't want, anytime someone says to me, it says, excuse me, I don't care what you believe, and I immediately jump on it and say, I don't believe a damn thing. I either know something or I don't. Belief is for fools and preachers and ministers, politicians, meat sticks, cops. That's what beliefs are for. Because their minds are controlled. Their minds aren't their own. I mean, seriously. That's why I don't get mad at them. I joke about them and poke at them all the time. But I look at them the same way I'd look at a 5-year-old mentally handicapped child. Would you beat one? I mean, there's some people on this planet that would and do. I wouldn't. It's not something I would do. So that's exactly how I look, because it's exactly what they are. They're mentally retarded. Playing in a meat stick at a game level, no more than a 5-year-old. I'm not being judgmental, I'm being observant. I don't know about you, but, somebody putting a pregnant lady out of a car and tasing her, that's not something that a sane, rational, adult, compassionate being would do. That's something that well, even a 5-year-old retarded child wouldn't do that. An animal does that. So I mean, hell, we're dealing. Most of those beings are. I've said it before. I get the intuitive on them that this is their first or second pass as humans, just out of the animal kingdom of the predator-prey realm. You follow nature, right? In terms of evolution, you're a good dog and you make the grade. You get to be human on this lifetime. Problem is, you're still biting people, so you get put in your kennel for a lifetime or two, and you'll remember. As above, so below. I mean, the Mayans laid it out pretty clear on the 9 levels of consciousness in the pyramid. Right? It was an allegory. Because every one of those levels, you can talk about time compressing and all the rest of it, and I've been through all that, the Mayan calendar and all the stuff that goes along with it. But the simple fact is, everything is now. All 9 levels of consciousness are happening now. Are there not cells on the planet? And are there not humans? Consciousness, high-level consciousness humans. Of course there are. And we're all here coexisting at the same time. We have animals. We have low. I mean, if you get a chance, look at the pyramid, 9 levels of creation pyramid, Mayan. Look it up on Google or whatever. Easy enough to find. There's a couple of really good diagrams on it. But when you look at it, it makes total sense. And you can see all levels of creation that is here right now. All levels of creation are here, has to be. As above, so below. All things in all things now. You know, we have rocks, we have water, we have cells, we have, you know, single cell organisms, we have, you know, other organisms that are more than single cell but not much, and all the way up to these massively incredible, you know, meat stick engines called the human body. It's all built into the design of the DNA, you know. So it's not rocket science. But I'll tell you, we're about, I guess, about 6-7 minutes left here. I'm probably going to finish off with a song tonight, but I guarantee you we'll pick this up tomorrow night, and I might even have another essay for you. So, yeah, it's coming in fast and furious, and like I said, even when I was writing those two, I could have written a book on one of those paragraphs on one of those concepts, no problem, because everything was coming in. So I'm just trying to codify it to get it simple enough where people can grasp the concepts and understand them. And again, resonate with others to see if that bell is ringing out there. That confirms for me, right? We do this together. Because I say something is true doesn't mean it's true. It's true to me. It's what I've found. It only becomes truth, self-evident, when it resonates with another. If it is in fact truth, not the truth, there is no such thing as the truth. There is only truth. It's not singular. It's exponential. And it comes in infinite perspectives. So when we figure out one truth in the universal truth, that's another one that's a little notch in your belt. You don't have to learn that one anymore. But here's the thing I will finish on tonight. If you find that truth and you don't stand in it, you're not going to like it. I promise you that. That's why I'm urging anyone that is listening, if you cannot handle the truth, stop listening. Because that's all I'm going to share. It's going to be cold, hard, calculating, in your face, get the job done truth. And it's going to make you fully responsible for it. If you hear what I'm saying, if you listen to what I'm talking about, and you resonate and it becomes a truth to you and you do not stand in it, I cannot help you. You see? It's self-responsibility. This is about becoming the God within again. There's no one coming to save you. Tag, you're it. It is that simple. It's not that difficult, though. And you'll find the more times you stand in the truth, it might take a little practice out of the gate, but every time you find a truth and you stand in it, your world changes. Our world changes. I can't even imagine what my world would be like right now if I wasn't awake to the level I am. And I'm still awakening. I'm still climbing the ladder. And there are others that are likely way ahead of me. Of course there is. And some that are behind. Doesn't matter. All creation is in existence now with none greater or lesser than anything else. The only thing that changes is the observation. That changes by perspective. And the only thing that changes the perspective is your intent to do so. It all comes down to cause. You are either at cause over this world or you are at effect to it. I'm tired of being at effect to it. So I just took a little more cause responsibility, and that's what truth is. Learning how to be cause over things. So on that happy note, I'm going to finish this off with a tune here. And let's see which one. Let's see, is that at the bottom? Nope, it moved. So let me just do this first. And just want to say I love you guys. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having the strength to be here. It's a great table. It's wonderful sitting across from you. Catch you guys tomorrow night. Much love.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
somewhere like a dream. Your world washed over me and took me far away, so very far away. Made sense of all things wrong, gave hope where all was gone. What do I need to say, really need to say? Your eyes are all the words I need, wanting nothing in return. Your love is unconditionally. I have so much to learn. When I hold you in my arms, nothing seems to matter. I'll never let you get so far. Being there is what you do. When my world caved in around me, nothing through the smoke to see. There you were, still standing like an angel, holding on to me. So now you pulled me through, turned faith back into truth completely, so completely. Held strong when others ran, gave my heart a place to stand, and you saved me, more than saved me. Your eyes are all the words I need, wanting nothing in return.
Video provided by verdictproductions.com.
That in an essay all by itself. I've always felt that Ireland, the Emerald Isle, is the last remnant of a destroyed Atlantis, being where it is and where it used to be eons ago. Green is the color of the heart chakra, or shock, ra, or the solar plexus. Newgrange is a place dedicated to the seasonal changes, where a little spoke of place called Fornox that is dedicated to Cygnus, the swan. The swan is allegorical for the divine feminine, grace, beauty, and compassion. There is but one door to the last chamber yet to knock, and that is the heart completed. Only in the truest hearts can compassion be found for all creation, not just the selected chosen bits. Ulster is the last chamber with the patriarchal boot still on its throat, but that boot is being severed as the foot of the Pisces with its losing the foothold. The worshippers of Rome, aka Egypt, with their masters ruling from Switzerland, are now in their own fishnet as we climb up Jacob's ladder of the body. As above, so below. The age of Aquarius is all about knowing, far removed from the former epoch of believing in Pisces. When one begins to see the coincidences and realize finally that they are not coincidences at all, but are the rungs of this ladder, you too will begin to climb out of this illusion. There is only one thing that can make you immortal and finally set you free of this madness, and that is truth. Love is truth where unconditional reigns, not the cats and dogs that war on this plane. You can deny truth all you want, but your heart knows what you must do, and if truth be denied, you deny your own heart, so expect a few troubles of your own. All things for a reason, inasmuch as all things are allegorical fractals of creation itself. All things in all things. And it's quite magnificent to behold once your eyes truly begin to open. It is your own heart that beckons you home and nothing else. I have long wearied listening to the many that claim their own awakening, where it has always been a journey for me. I am awakened to some things, not all things, where I choose not to be fooled by my own arrogance of ego proclaiming that I am awake. Upon claiming of a destination, the tricky little bastard has once again conquered you and me with limitations. Infinity is a journey, not a destination, where this ship will take to port only for enough time to rest, gather allegorical supplies, and then press on to the starboards of my own creations, having learned something along the way each and every instant of the now. Of course, to be continued in part 2. In the meantime, while this rain goes over, I'm going to toss a song on to you guys. And let me see what I'm going to play. What am I going to play? Oh, I think I'll play this one. Be right back.
Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Good to act here. Did it work? Yeah, there it went. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Outside the Box here, Saturday night. Kate's rant night. Well, not necessarily, but it seems to turn into that some nights, but here we go. What I was thinking of doing, I had a couple of people ask me about it, is doing the essays back to back, and where it's not breaking up, and where possibly when the wonderful Zach gets his hands on it, he can maybe just edit out the essays and do those separately, so that it's there in a sonic, phonic, visual way so you can put the pieces together. So yeah, 31 Celsius here today, muggy, been trying to rain. Yeah, actually a few drops around me. I was trying to while I was sitting here waiting to get on the air. So, but looking at the clouds are definitely clearing off. So now, just waiting to see, because we finished off last night where Colleen just managed to get in. So I'm kind of waiting for Colleen to show up as well, and when she does, I'll get her on the air. And who else? I think, trying to think. And Vanessa wanted to jump in last night as well, so I'll get you guys on. But in the meantime, yeah, just another one of those wild and wonderful days, you know. Walking through the experience as we do and trying to discern from it what we need to discern and get in this emptying, offloading, dumping of the garbage from this camel that we've been walking around with for so very long. And yeah, no one's getting through any doorways. I don't even care if they're a mile wide at this point until that's done, right? You've got to unpack the camel. And this game is all about letting go. And it's all about not justifying anything in the illusion, because it was created for you until you start creating it for yourself. And I'm starting to get a little practiced at it now. And yeah, it's there. It's still waiting for the last little bits of this download to sort themselves out. It's not surprising. Usually it takes time. Sometimes I've often used the analogy of, throwing bamboo seeds out and oak tree acorns out. And some of the truths shoot up, 6 feet in one day, like some bamboos, right? And others, well, they take a generation to get into something really tangible. Again, it won't take a generation for this stuff to come to fruition. It's just an analogy, not to take literally. Okay, just shooting the bull here, just trying to spill the beans on some truth about how people are pissing their life away, and that's really the long and short of it. I guess to the elites, I'm a stool pigeon, and that's okay too. Ratting everybody out. Yeah. Oh, our language is full of it in more ways than one, but definitely full of these little allegories that so many of us, including myself, just took at face value, didn't know where it came from, didn't know why it was there, and we thought it meant one thing when it actually didn't. That's the thing about truth. When you start ingesting truth, that is the hair of the dog that bit you, the mistruth, right? So there you go. Now I'm just going to crack open these essays, and we'll get a little bit busy here. And just checking Skype here for a sec. And yes, thank you, Ninja, definitely. And I can't walk away from loving stuff for 30 seconds or 5 minutes, because there's another 70 plus posts, and I'm supposed to keep up. Yeah. Okay. I'll do my best. All right. So let me see. Where is it? Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 1. And my computer takes a second to load this kind of stuff up. So, excuse me. In the meantime, I'll just keep with the Babylon. Yeah, interesting experiences. I was out and about for a bit today, and didn't get accomplished what I wanted to, but the universe obviously didn't want it to happen today, so it will happen tomorrow, and that's okay too. Or it won't. Doesn't matter to me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be for exactly the reason I'm supposed to be, and I'm here about tearing my own walls down. Seeing the things that I need to shed, seeing the things that I need to let go of, seeing the things that I need the wisdom to look at and say, well, nothing's going to change that. Well, nothing external. That's going to be up to the individual to choose which path they want. But I find it, as I'm sure every one of you listening, every one of you tuned inners, And these are our tests. Really, the test of the game is only for you. And we put so much of ourself outside of ourself into the illusion to try to make things according to our image, be it friends, family, enemies, whatever the case may be. All just players in the game, all just actors, and all the world's a stage. And that's really the toughest thing for people to get past. You see, what a lot of people can't accept responsibility for the words of others that did the same before them. It is easiest to perpetuate a lie if it doesn't feel like one, and not one of our creations. We have two roads here, two choices, and that is to be willfully seeking knowledge and willfully seeking ignorance. While some may argue, ego, that being ignorant is not a willful act, any choice made is one done with intent. Any act of knowing ever experienced proves this out, that ignorance must be chosen in the same light as knowledge, since they are both equal and opposite, where neither will or can exist without the other, as its perfect mirror. Ignorance is simply knowing better and not doing so. We have spent lifetimes looking at everything based upon the conditioning of someone else's thoughts and intentions. We have continuously allowed our own pure canvases we arrive in this realm with to be painted on by others. It has been quite truthfully said that the bigger the lie, the easier it is to convince others, and this has been played out on the grandest of scales. The intent of the lie always remains the same, and that is to divide and conquer, nothing more. As long as you can keep people polarized, you can keep them hating, fearful, and most importantly, controlled. It's quite an easy trick, but alas, this one-trick pony is exposed, and it is only up to us to choose the insanity of this world's creations, or decide that there is something a little saner to our tastes. Where was it? Yeah, the insanity of this place is easy to spot unless a planet filled with war, starvation, hate, lust, greed, murder, raping, etc. is to your liking. And if so, then you are a psychopath, pure and simple. What we are dealing with here, as the illusion, is simply an allegory of the greatest magnitude, if you can see it. The illusion is not that difficult to see, but one must shift positions 180 degrees to find its center. If the term "let's go shoot the bull" is to be taken literally, there would be a lot of angry farmers and a lot of dead bulls. If one was to accept everything literally, then this planet would be an even bigger mess than it is, with many spilling the beans, pissing their lives away, eating crows, roast pigeons on stools, etc. That is the true nature of the litter all. When one begins to have eyes to see and ears to hear, this world becomes a vastly larger panorama and a lot less Homer Simpson-led. There is great responsibility in truth, and why so few will ever seek it out on any grand scale. It is much easier to ignore the root of ignorance than it is to know and be responsible for that knowing. In a world adrift in ignorance, the ones that seek truth are the standouts in the crowd, where not being with the in-crowd of ignorance is cool. Gratefully, the day of the ignoramus is over, and the light of truth is blinding the fools and thieves of this realm. It has been raining cats and dogs for too long. Allegorically, cats have been seen as feminine and dogs as masculine, and likely why men love their pussies doggy style. Cats have always been perceived as the divine feminine, and the dog as the faithful masculine protector, regardless of the gender of either creation. One sees the patriarchal rulership of Rome as merely being a transplant of the pharaohs of Egypt, which they are. The allegorical fear of cats the ancient Egyptians had for cats falls nicely into view. All the clues are there if we take a second look at everything. Literally looking at everything will have you seeing only half of what is being shown, at the very least. Of course, some things are much easier to discern as allegories or metaphors, and I refer to them as kindergarten starter kits. The previously mentioned allegories are of this nature and very easy to see. An allegory is simply an analogy or a comparison put in a story or dark saying form, so that regardless of the language or the time it is used, the meaning remains untarnished with perpetual change. Shakespearean terms like biting one's thumb and then spitting afterwards is an old reference way of saying to suck the thumb biter's cock. I prefer to use intense allegories to get the point driven home. You will find this reference in Romeo and Juliet in the first act. A rose by any other name is still a rose eloquently means that no matter how many coats of paint you put on a piece of dog shit, means it is still a piece of dog shit. The title of this essay means that duality of this realm has been conquering us for too long, where one aspect of creation is made to fear and be controlled by another aspect. In this case, the divine masculine, the prodigal son, has been trying to control creation itself and has been redirecting our free will in ignorance, consent, and choice. This is where the line, "and God created man in our image," leaves a great many questions, as in, who is the our and who is the God? Alas, all the world's a stage, and the play we're in is all allegorical, and is the literal shadow of creation on the other side of the looking glass, Alice. Everything you see, read, and experience is that reflection, but many have been taught to look away and miss the less than obvious. The road back, however, is getting clearer by the instant. Excuse me. In each aspect of our physical being, be it perceived female or male, we are complete, although convinced that we are separate from the other. We have been told and controlled into this perceived division most carefully, where our very energetic essence has been split in two and polarized. The truth is, we are both magnetic and electric, when one finally grasps the notion that all things are just energy, nothing more and nothing less. The magnetic void of creation is the divine feminine, and the electric intent of creating is the masculine drive. This has been portrayed in countless ways and is everywhere, whether it's the phallic penis of the obelisk or the Vesca Pisces it stands in. As an example of some some word or sigil trickery, the word stir or star is referencing the divine feminine. What did you think Star Wars was about anyway? Inasmuch as the star is also the sun, what part of being both male and female energies did you miss? This whole realm is about controlling the divine feminine void of creation by a male energy gone way out of balance, and religion was the grand lie of them all. Why are people shocked when priests, ministers, and rabbis are shown to be mutilators and rapists of young male children? That's not to say that girls aren't treated the same, just that there is a preference to defile, or D-Phi-L. You can see Delphi in there as well. D-Phi-L, the male. Yes, everyone for as if they're not being part of the solution. And I'm talking, once you find a truth and refuse to stand in it, you are actually empowering the problem. You're not just agreeing with it anymore, because when you have the truth, what's happened is you've went exponential on it. So a denial of a truth that you understand and a truth that you know is a very, very, very powerful trap. And it will come back, I promise you. It's one of the reasons why I stand in the way I do. Sometimes those mirrors take a little bit to reflect back, and sometimes if you're lucky, they come at you fast and furious like they did with me, and you'll see what you're made of. At the end of that rainbow, yeah, there's a pot of gold there. And this is the one thing that I really want to carry across to everyone at all points. There is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or your Ra's bow. Okay. So here we go. I think, not quite loaded up yet. But where did I want to go there? Yeah, interesting conversations today. And without going into detail with who I was chatting with or whatever, it was a wonderful opportunity to observe things that had been, kind of welling around in me. And of course, we're dealing with a supermoon, right? For those who don't know what it is, the moon is at its closest to Earth, and in alignment. Of course, it's going to be full moon, so it's the sun, moon, and Earth in alignment, and the moon will be at its closest perigee. This only happens every year or two or whatever, where everything coincides, where the moon is lit up completely with the sun, and it's as close as it's going to be. And for me, the supermoon was, or is, as it's going to be, is the personification of card 18 and card 19 together, because the sun and moon are in alignment with the earth, so as above, so below, right? Of course, the moon being all about the emotions, and the sun all about light and love, and whatever you want to call it. You've got the divine feminine, divine masculine, and of course, they're in both. Much easier just to separate the the concept so that you can see it in a duality in order to put it back into a singularity. That's kind of what I do. So just going to check the board real quick here. I have the essay open for those of you that haven't heard this yet. Good. And for those that haven't, gooder. I always find after visiting something, once or twice, you start to get new ears and new eyes on it. It's like the words magically change. Your eyes are changing. Your eyes are being opened. And, scary as that is, think back to when you were just entering this world, and the first time you opened your eyes, and, whoa, what's going on here then? Not in so many words. It would sound more like ba 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 in your head, but you know what I'm saying. And that's what's happening is, you go back to that crazy awesome rebel teacher who said, "You must be born again." Boy, did they mess that one up. This is where you're being born into the truth, being carried, born to bear away. You're being born on the winds of truth right now. At least that's what I'm feeling, so it's pretty cool. But here we go. Excuse me. Over to the board. Just want to see if Colleen has made it here yet. They did say last night, when Colleen shows up, I'll give her first dibs because she hung on for so long last night and only got in at the last minute. She actually got the last word, so that was pretty cool. And here comes the rain. There's the waters of truth. It's actually quite nice. I've got an umbrella open. It's actually covering my guitar right now. So if it gets a little too damp, I'll be tossing a tune on and taking my guitar inside. Yeah? Is that the shit or what? I think we're on to something, boys and girls. I think we've actually got the heavens talking to us tonight. That's just coincidence. Something ominous. Kate's going to say something ominous, I can tell. Alright, so yeah, it's starting to rain a bit here, so I'm just going to actually slide my guitar inside and I can have the umbrella over top of me. Look at the priorities, eh? Umbrella on my guitar. I'm getting wet. Computer's getting wet, but not my guitar. No. There you go. Okay. Alright, now can I do this with one hand? Yes, I can. I'm a multitasker. That was quite a boom there. That was pretty cool. That was very, very cool. I always love thunder and lightning storms. They're magical to me. Oops, I gotta close the door. I'll close the screen. Live radio. Listen to Kate in real time as she fumbles around trying to fix everything up. That's great. Okay. So let's get to this essay, shall we? Now get you guys jumping in because Saturday night, let's get wild, eh? Come on, party time. Get your dancing shoes on. All right, Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 1. This is going to be fun trying to read this with an umbrella up. Anyway. Bitch. All right, here we go. Raining Cats and Dogs, Part 1. While it's easy to see the literal in what appears to be obvious, it is the hidden from view we are oblivious to discern, and all one must do to the obvious is insert the lie. L-I. It is about shifting our perspectives into the prose se, for himself, herself, itself, and allegorical realms that peels back the apocalypse for the true revelations to be seen. Very few will seek to look deeper into the real meanings of words and prefer to take it at face value. Word matters, and every word is a clue, some more than others only. The medical profession and religion will tell you all kinds of lies to convince parents to circumcise male children and point to the trap of the literal physical nonsense, but they won't tell you that the removal of the foreskin is the physical aspect of the male that is the inner and outer labia and the symbolic allegory of the divine feminine being removed. There are many physical reasons beyond this, such as keeping the illusion of an erect penis on the male from birth and to keep them sex-driven and thus expelling the fluids from the spine and brain to keep them from ever waking up as they spill their seed every chance they get. While this is not true of all males, it certainly explains the sheer volume of porn stores in the Western world. To add insult to injury, the schooling systems teach absolute garbage to the masses, while the chosen intellects are bought off and enter into the controller's realms and taught an entirely different version of reality. In short, the penis foreskin is the physical allegory of the divine feminine shorn from that being. I have long spoke of the word register, and this was the biggest allegory to date for me. I see it everywhere now, and I do mean everywhere. The word register means to rule the divine feminine creative essence, regis, stir. When we register anything, we have willfully given up our divine feminine for another to use to their fancies. This is an ethereal concept, so don't get stuck in the physical illusion about this. Physical is the creation, not the creator. What is physical is past tense, as in created, after the fact of being created. Seeing allegories is simple, not easy, and it requires a rewiring of your perspective, the one that has not been yours for a very long time. These are the true eyes to see, coupled with the true ears to hear. Once that is accomplished, then you have the in voice to ask, and ye shall receive. It begins with the ceasing of worshipping things outside of ourselves, outside of creation herself. Each and every one of us has our own piece of the puzzle, our own purpose, and our things that will resonate the truths we need and seek to find. When you begin to see your own purpose, things become crystal clear. The easiest way to see things is by knowing that everything in existence is both masculine and feminine, positive and negative, electrical and magnetic at the same time in singularity. I like to use the analogy of a coin. When one flips the coin and says head of the dragon or tail of the dragon, one is seeking contrast of duality. Regardless of how the coin hits the floor, it's still a coin. Where the best result would be at landing on its edge, where you can see the head and tail equally. Being a head or tail showing does not diminish the perceived value of the coin, merely the perspective of how one willfully chooses to see it. If you perceive something as right, then you must have the equal and opposite contrast to draw that conclusion as to what may be perceived wrong. Is it right or wrong for a tribe of cannibals to eat another human? Well, according to their perspective, it's sacred and right, but to mine, not something I would willfully choose to do. Only illusions can be built on lies. The castles built on the sand where truth prefers castles built on the rock allegory. If one is a believer, then one is stuck in the duality of lies versus truth with the word shown lessly. Be, lie, ver, where ver is the root of verily or truthfully. So when one is a believer, there is the choice cast in the doubts of the definition of the word itself. I would prefer to know something versus believe anything. My experience in this reality is the only thing I can truly know, where all else outside of self is open to interpretation only. There are no answers in illusions or lies, only further deception where one is left to trust in a false or false idol or icon. Yes, it's all there for all to see if we make the choice to see past the illusions of the physical constructs. All things in the physical realm are simply mimics or copyrights of the spiritual and ethereal mirrors, and why I refer to this place as a mirror reflection. I have seen far too many confirmations for that to be denied any longer, where true knowing of self has come into full view. The biggest test for me was the absolute trust I placed within my own reality against all the standard norms of this run-by-psychos animal farm. I became the 1 plus 1 equals 3 knowing versus the 1 plus 1 equals 2 believer. If one chooses the literal math, one can believe all day long that it does equal 2. But when one gets outside the box ethereally, then one sees the true laws of nature. Cosmic creations and 1 egg plus 1 sperm equals the third being created. That's the trouble with the physical, in that it places limits on all of us in the very nature of its finite construction. The physical realm worships math as outlined in the Masonic G, the banker's tallies, and the pharaoh's pyramids. In short, they worship all things outside of themselves and are trapped in their own game, if they could but see that. We have been poisoned by a light not our own, words not of our creation, and make real all the illusions we stare at. As another example, I have long felt that Ireland is the heart of the divine feminine allegory. I have pored through countless articles, tomes, essays, and books regarding this, pondering, but it didn't take long to piece a few of them together. Even the shape of Ireland herself is resembling the heart. A real one, by the way. She has 4 ventricles, or provinces, and her troubles were in the upper right ventricle called Ulster. Let's look at the other three. Munster, Leinster, and Connaught. Or Munster, Leinster, and Connaught. You got to play with these things. Ulster is a word broken down by the letter, allows a deeper look into its true essence, with U as the international symbol of electricity being masculine, L as the divine essence of the power of creation, the spirit breath called Ro, excuse me, and sorry, clear my throat here, and Stir being the divine feminine stir. It becomes quite clear this trinity within the upper right higher feminine chamber. The star chamber referred to in Black's Law Magic book is the allegory of the heart itself, with more on